Hello. Before the video starts, I'm announcing that I have a Discord server now where I will announce my videos when they're posted, and also where you get access to all sorts of other fun projects that I'm doing, such as this one. Also, if you're listening, I'd appreciate it if you hit the big red shiny subscribe button. Now that that's over with, I'll let you get into the video and my not scripted intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I'm King of Prussia, doing the part 1 of our Optimate Cup After Action Report, where I sit down with people who played the game and we're going to talk about how it went. First, we'll introduce the people. I have Glossen.
Hello, I played Dutch.
He was the Netherlands, and we have Vmprnighthwk.
Hello, I played Spain.
España. So the Optimate Cup was an imperial diplomacy invitational game I organized, where I invited a bunch of good players to come play a game, and got to experience the fireworks. I almost said thunderworks. Okay then. I played as Ming, and so naturally, being the most important celestial empire in the world, I brought in 2 of my tributaries to discuss how the game went with me.
Naturally. And as you do, you came in with a plan of attack, right?
Yes. Yeah, I guess we can just get right into it. We'll start. I imagine we should start with me because it'll be the shortest. My plan will be the shortest out of these 2. Just because my country is here, and their countries are like there.
Don't forget there.
There's a reason I did not pick a colonial power in this game. It did not feel like a good idea. Oh, God. All right. So yeah, I'll just get started. So as Ming, I spent a lot of time planning out how to play Ming. Funnily enough, when we do the sign-ups for this game, every person ranked the top 5 powers they would want in order. And I looked at Ming, and I knew that if I ranked it 1, I would get it because nobody else likes Ming. It's a pretty fragile power, and if it's not played precisely and with some luck, you're not going to survive very long. So step 1 of my plan was to tell everyone that I had ranked Ming 4th and gotten it anyways.
Naturally.
Which I hope people bought, but I think might have forgotten with this far in. But yeah, I spent a lot of time planning out as Ming because at the time I was working at a job where I sat at a desk and did nothing all day, and so I had a lot of time to plan. And generally, I planned out my relations with all the neighbors around me and what I wanted to do. Step 1, Tokugawa, dead. This was the most important part of me playing Ming. My experience playing Tokugawa and seeing it played in a bunch of games is that Tokugawa is just like it's a timer for every power nearby, where as soon as it's secure, it will slowly chop down all of the powers nearby until nobody else is left in the area. And I, as Ming, someone with a homeland in the area, has a vested interest in that not happening. So step 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think part of it is that if Itoku is allied with Ming or Qing, part of that alliance is they don't want fleet builds. And as soon as you're in an alliance with Toku and Toku has lots of fleets and you don't have any fleets, you kind of have your back open to them the whole game.
Yeah, it's a lot of leverage because if you're an alliance and you build fleets, they can be like, what are you going to do? What, are you stabbing me? And they can like leverage that. And if you're like trying to defend from a Toku plus another power alliance, then you're just dealing with an onslaught of fleets. And if you're the neighbor, if you'd never build any fleets, you just have no recourse against them, just convoying a bunch of stuff onto the mainland.
Yeah, and they just kill you eventually. No matter what you do, you eventually fall before them because nobody else can contest their sheer.
I think the only power in the area that can really meet them on even terms, like into the mid game, if they really get rolling, is Inuit, because Inuit kind of does the same thing.
Yes, lots of fleets.
Yeah, they just flood NPO.
Yeah, and so Japan often seeks to kill Inuit very quickly, which you see in some games. And I told Inuit about that in negotiations, I think, although I didn't talk to Inuit that much because Candlepower was not a very talkative guy to me.
I think I sent my second message to Candlepower in 1647.
Yeah.
I talked a lot, as we'll see later on. But yeah.
So, wanting Tokugawa dead means that I need to be friendly with a lot of people. I want to be friendly with Ching first and foremost, because if Tokugawa is going to die, then the easiest way to get Tokugawa to die is to have Ching walk down and just bounce them out of builds. Just say, no, you don't get builds, Tokugawa. So step one, by any means necessary, I must secure Ching as an ally. Step number two is going to be I want friendly Dutch. I want Glossen over here to be my friend, because ideally what happens is he goes into Ryukyu, then I drop a fleet into East China Sea and get supported into Kyushu. And that gets me a build and denies Tokugawa one. So by any means necessary, I should be selling the Netherlands on killing Tokugawa, even if I'm promising them crazy things like Osaka, which is tough. But I will say anything, or like Macau. I'll promise them Macau, even though they're never will I ever tolerate the Dutch in Macau for longer than one phase. But I will tell them that they can have it long term, as long as they will put me in Kyushu and kill Tokugawa with me. Sorry, Glossen.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I kind of didn't believe any of your promises, but also came to the. So I had the particular problem about Toku was that it was Miyota, and not everyone knows this. I am friends with Miyota. I've been friends with Miyota for years, from before I started playing Diplomacy, from a game called Civ 5 where we played literally thousands of hours with each other, and he knows probably more than any other person in this community just how much of a rat I am. So it's possible for me and Miyota not to be next to each other, or to be next to each other and not fight, but it has not happened often.
Glad to hear it. Worked out well for me for a while, at least.
Yeah. So
I mean, I also think it makes sense because the alternative to the Kyushu Crusher is
the Ryukyu
Toku supporting Ming into Dutch on Ryukyu. So I think Dutch is kind of pushed into a position where they want Toku and Ming to fight, but they don't want either of them to come out far on top.
Yeah. Because anyone who wins the island chain is going to kill Ryukyu and Formosa.
Oh yes,
like
100%.
That colony is just bad.
That colony is not meant to live for an extended period of time.
I think it is potentially the second worst colony behind Muscat.
Yes. So in line with my other northern strategies, because Qing is my best friend, I'm going to want to just toss Qing into Russia. It doesn't really matter how this happens, whether Russia gets tossed in or Qing gets tossed in. But I want Qing to be fighting Russia, because if Qing is not fighting Russia, then Qing has a lot of armies that are not going to be doing a whole lot of anything except staring at me. And I don't like that. So, I want Qing to fight Russia. But also, I don't want Russia to hate me, because if Russia hates me, then they can do all sorts of annoying things like encouraging Mughals to attack me, or putting armies next to my centers, and that's just not much fun. So, we'll just it's a delicate balance I gotta hold. But in the early game, Qing is definitely more important than Russia. My second big conclusion out of all my analysis before the game was that Ayutthaya had to die. This position in this setup, which has been changed, of course, by now, is extremely powerful. Ayutthaya, if they get rolling, will just flood out, and there's not much you can do about it. They have the tactical advantage. Let's say, for instance, that we end up with a border that's here, right? Which is some situation where we worked together and killed the Mughals. Ayutthaya just has the tactical advantage in every sense, basically. The only way they don't is if I'm in Hainan and I can have a fleet in Bay of Tonkin to anchor my flank.
Yeah, if you've already killed Portugal, but you never have an opportunity to.
Yeah, that never happens.
Not with how that would go. But yeah, Ayutthaya just has more. They have more provinces on
surface area
on the centers.
Yeah, it's a surface area problem.
Yeah, they have more centers that they can take easily compared to me. So my southern strategy was kill Ayutthaya by any means necessary. Now, luckily, I figure Mughals should be pretty open to this, because in my experience playing Mughals, it feels pretty natural to try to encompass this whole coastal area, and that lets you project power like to India if you want. If you get lucky and Dutch are kind of weak, you can go down southeast into the Indies, and it's just very secure, right? The thing about the Mughals, if they get like this, let me carve it properly with how I thought at the start of the game. If the Mughals get this line, there's not really ever going to be any threat to them from the east, right? Like I don't have Ming. The only way as Ming you get the firepower to break through this line is if Mughals just pulls all their units away, and then I get a bunch of builds and he gets no builds. And luckily, the upside of having a bunch of good players in a lobby is that my expectation is that Mughals, who's JPM, I think. Am I right?
Yep, JPM.
I think it was
my,
JPM, yeah.
My expectation is that JPM on Mughals is going to be able to look at my proposal and calculate and be like, okay, well, this border, like, this may not give me every single one of the centers I think I could get if I work against Ming, but it's going to give me a lot of secure centers, and it's going to let me focus on taking the rest of India and then pushing west. Because also, you might want to know, the guy on his west is Salt, and you cannot trust Salt. You cannot trust Salt. You cannot trust Salt. That's all I got to say about that. He will dot you for no reason. So
he even more than Ezio is a proponent of C dot take dot.
Yes, yeah, it suits Salt a lot more than Ezio.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, I also want to kill Ayutthaya. So there are two of my neighboring powers off the bat who I want to kill, which is a bit of an awkward proposal, but I'm sure that everything will go fine. Other than that, I want to work with Spain a bit. My general opinion of Spain is that I want you, Vampire, to be up here and to be like supporting against Tokugawa. But I don't expect it to be a long-term arrangement either with you or with Netherlands, because what I expect is that you'll like get up here and you'll be all kumbaya, and then some idiotic thing will happen in South America, and then it's not going to be my problem anymore, right?
Or just colonial dynamics in general, like.
Well, generally, what you expect is for Aymara to try extremely hard to get Spain and Netherlands to fight by any means necessary, because if Spain and Netherlands don't fight, then Aymara loses.
Yep.
And so and my expectation is that if Aymara can't get you two to fight, then I'm not going to be able to. So I shouldn't really be putting too much effort into building tensions between you both. I want you both to see me as kind of an even-handed and trustworthy power compared to Tokugawa or each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it really is Aymara is the driver behind the two of us fighting. And like, to be fair to Grug, he did try a little bit, but like I kind of just ignored the inland early South America. And we'll get into this as the phases go on. But
I think I kind of disagree that Aymara is the one starting that. I think so much of how colonials interact is based on the other colonials and the other colonial dynamics, at least in how I view the game. Like I think that if it puts me in a position where I want to attack you, then I will happily work with Aymara against you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to let Aymara cause Spain to attack the Dutch, because that has so many knock-on impacts elsewhere on the board. Like,
I want to clarify.
In the Mediterranean, or not Mediterranean, into the Caribbean, in Europe, things like that. So I think in general, the way I view it is it's really, really hard for regionals, unless there's multiple regionals working together, to cause a pair of colonials to fight.
Well, so I need to clarify. When I say like anything possible, I don't mean Aymara in like your press or Dutch press like laying out a plan and trying to convince you to attack each other. Aymara's job is not only to do that. Aymara's job is to tell the other person, hey, I heard this XYZ, I heard this rumor. Oh, I died for a moment. Aymara's job.
My headphones died. Sorry.
That's okay. Aymara's job is to you want to Aymara, you want to spread rumors. You want to go not just to Spain and Netherlands. You want to go to other powers on the board.
Yeah.
And you want to tell them, hey, 100%. Spain and Netherlands are fighting. You want to. You're as Aymara, right? And digression from like all of this. But as Aymara, you're not just convincing these two to attack each other. You have to build an
Yeah.
information ecosystem around the board to force the fight. Which
Yeah, I mean, I think
way back
Portugal,
when I
for
played
that
as
reason,
I said way back when I played
is
as Aymara, before Guarani even existed. So it was even more important for Aymara to force Spain and Netherlands to fight. That's kind of one of the things I did is I went to other colonials even, and I'm talking to them, and I'm like, hey, I mean, it looks like Spain and Netherlands are going to be fighting here, and that information makes its way around the board, and by the time it gets back to Spain and Netherlands, it's not really clear to them where this information is coming from, and so it kind of causes a lot of that tension, and that's Aymara's job.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm not doing anything like that as Ming.
Yeah.
Yep.
I expect someone else to do that.
I agree with pretty much everything that's been said. Like, colonials set the tempo of the game. Colonials determine, or the relationships between colonials determine the relationships between other colonials. But one thing you can do as a regional is send rumors flying. This is why, if you're a new player, you should have all 24 press channels, because it may not matter why, like, Athabasca wants to talk to, like, Ming, but there's a way, like, you can... Athabasca talking to Ming matters for what Inuit's doing, for what, like, Ute is doing, like...
Yes,
it all ties together.
I forgot to mention, I made channels with the North American region this game because I wanted to get more people to attack Tokugawa. And, well, I tried to sell Ute on attacking Hawaii, and whatnot, taking that. And I tried to steer things. I don't know how much influence I had, probably not that much. But I tried to steer things so that Inuit wouldn't be 2v1'd up here, because I wanted Inuit to be able to drop down like this and pressure Toku. And then ideally, once Toku's gone or crippled, I also want Inuit to be in a decent position to go and get into Qing. And that way, Qing can't attack me and becomes more vulnerable to my attacks. Because I pitched to both Mughals and Qing a best friends forever policy, but the person I really would rather be best friends forever with is Mughals. Qing I see as more of a targetable power, and Mughals I see as more of a permanent ally. That's a really bad.
Yeah, Qing is your second target, so it's after you've eliminated your Toku, then you'll pivot on. Yeah, I guess I'm viewing Toku and Ayu as pure, like, first targets together, because like you're hitting them both immediately, almost, and then once those are wrapped up somewhat, then you'll work on Qing.
As a side point, I haven't talked much about Portugal and Macau. That's basically because my view of Ming and Macau is that the moment you have the opportunity to just come down here and snatch it, you should. I think that having Hainan to be able to build in is really important. You want to be able to put fleets here and to project them either out and south into Ayutthaya if you need to break it that way, or to be able to either, attack Formosa, safeguard against the Philippines, anything like that. It's just a really important tile to have, in my opinion. And Portugal die.
Yeah, I mean, I would even argue that Macau is a better core than Hainan is. It's just Hainan is a pre-core.
Yeah, Hainan's a pre-core.
Hainan's really hard to build in.
Yeah, and you don't want... The thing about being down here is you don't want to sit a unit in Macau coring. There's just no point for it, in my opinion. The reason is that it is an indicator to whoever might happen to be in Formosa that you intend to build a new fleet here and move it that way. And they might not take it that well. So, don't. Just use your other core, which will, kind of freak out Spain, but Spain's going to be freaked out anyways with you having Hainan, so whatever. It's fine. But that's my general synopsis of what I thought as Ming going into the game. My general idea at the beginning of a winning, circle of dots is probably... This is without counting, just off the top of my head. Probably something like this is the idea, which should be like 36 or so. You might need a few more.
Yeah, I think that's more than... But yeah, I think that...
But this is where I want it to be dominant.
Mm-hmm.
So, Colonials, which of you two wants to elaborate your plans for the game first?
To you. I'm happy to go first if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna this is I'm on Spain, and an important detail for my year one press is this is either during or shortly after the IDR Cup finished. And and the IDR Cup was run. The entire game was pretty much run by a really strong EF alliance, and I was on Utshishon, and there were a couple things I could have done differently. I had a quite good game. I had a great stat. We did the Aether Crusher back when it was very, very good, and then I had a great stab on Inuit. I was pretty big. I ended up being the closest one right outside the impunity, which I think there were things I could have played differently, but it was a pretty hard position. So I came into this game being, I want to have more agency. I want to be a colonial, because I think sometimes you're going to just have games where if you're a regional and your neighbors, like we talked about Aymara, if Spain and Dutch are hard aligned, Aymara just can't play. Ayutthaya just can't play. I didn't want to be and there are things you can do to impact the board on that. They're fewer than I would like, especially after having felt like I just was on the receiving end of that. So I wanted to be a colonial. I put England first, I think, Spain second, because those were the colonials that I hadn't played that were not Dutch. And so that's how I ended up on Spain. I think the way I would describe myself in diplomacy is both I'm very, very much an alliance player, and I am very reactive. Insofar as the start of the game, I like getting on as good basis as I can with everyone, and then pruning the alliances that I either have the best stabs on or or are clearly not able to go or not as necessary or stab me, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the game, I've ended up I still have close alliances with the people who were able to keep pace and make it to impunity. This is very good strategy I've found, at least for me, for making it to impunity. It's not a great strategy for board topping or trying to solo, or at least how far I play into it is. I'll talk about lots of regions after, but to start, my negotiations were pretty much in most cases just going for the usual, getting as many dots as possible. Yeah, taking Apache, Cartagena. I'll talk about Caracas in a moment because that's one of the only ones that is different.
As someone who played Spain, you got to just circle it a few times.
Yeah.
Just in case Tasnika's watching, just in case.
With Ute, we split Akwala and Hawaii. I was happy to let them pick. They wanted Akwala. I took Hawaii. In general, I think I try not to be super demanding year one. In Europe, I went and took the Tangier, Marrakesh, Balearis, Sardinia. Oh, did I? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just forgot to scroll the screen.
Perfect. No, you're all good. And then I was going to take Rome, and we were France pushed very, very hard to have course. In general, I think if you're Spain, if you're trying to do a strong Spanish-French alliance, the most natural way to do it is to have all the islands as Spain, and have France have Florence. Yeah, which feels very natural to me. It does put Spain in a little bit of a position of advantage if France has 1 or 0 fleets. And Ambrosius, who's playing France, really didn't want to do that. And I'm very rarely going to bounce someone out of a dot when I can take something else. So in this case, he was insisting on Corsica, so I gave him course, and I went for the double outside of that. And then in Asia, so here, the two most natural sent dots are Cotabato and Zamboanga. So I went to Sulu Sea, Philippine Sea, so that and I was likely planning to do that. But at the same time, discussions had started on the Toku Crusher. And to do that, the only thing that's my job is to bounce Toku out of Bonin. And it's important to convince Toku that they can take Bonin, because otherwise they can either hold Kyushu, otherwise they can support hold Kyushu, and they keep at least one dot. So
unacceptable.
My sacrifice for this move was I had to tell Toku that they could take Bonin and then bounce them out of it, which I think is a fine thing. For me, I really want Toku and Ming fighting. I don't want Toku to collapse to Ming and Qing super fast, but I don't think that's possible. There just aren't enough fleets. And it's hard enough to get them there. So I think it was we'll see how the whole Toku situation goes later, but I think this is a pretty reasonable year one for Spain. It's just really important that you're not the only one doing it, because if you are, then you have a very upset Toku to your north who absolutely will flood fleets down towards you. And then finally, going back to Caracas. So the move set I really wanted to do here is, if you scroll down even further, I think Aymara and Guarani have a really crushing attack against Mapuche. So I spent a bunch of time trying to convince Grug that this was the course of action he should take, because it feels to me like the most natural border between Aymara and Spain is, with me.
I agree. I agree 100%.
And if I can get him to agree to this, then I can take Japura and Iparina year one and Cartagena, and I don't have to take Caracas, because Caracas is a big source of tension between Spain and Poland, especially Cassandra was on Poland and this, after the game I found out this was a misunderstanding between the two of us, but she was really pushing for Caracas for her, and had what to me seemed like pretty compelling arguments in that once she has Caracas, there's really no, other than with a fleet, there's really no level of conflict between us. Whereas otherwise, they're going to a fleet in Gulf of Paria or Caribbean Sea is always going to be threatening. Like that plus New Courland will always threaten Caracas, which seemed compelling to me. If I could get a different dot with Bogota, I would, and was fine with that. If I couldn't, then I still want to double, and because I have the fleet in Cartagena, I can just support myself in. It's guaranteed to me. Unfortunately, I don't know whether it was Grug or Fiend having cold feet, but they didn't want to go through the Crusher on Mapuche. So Grug wanted Iparina. I'm not going to fight him on it. I let him have Iparina. So
Fiend
then my
Guarani,
backup plan.
Everyone watching.
Yeah, Venus Guarani, Aeolus is Mapuche. So the backup plan for that then was, I was talking with Ambrosius, and I realized that we can immediately eliminate Poland in the Caribbean, which I think is good for both of us. That the moveset is, I go to Cartagena and Orinoco, and then I'll support myself into Caracas. And it's important here that Poland goes to Caracas, thinking that they get it. And then France goes from Cayenne to Guiana Current, then Barbados. And then the agreement is that in the next year, I support them into New Courland, and Poland's literally gone from the Caribbean immediately. Nothing they can do.
Sucks to suck.
They will have a rogue fleet. But my Cartagena can bounce in Caribbean Sea. Maybe we get Parmervo to build a fleet and they bounce in Gulf of Paria. They're just dead. I like this. Ambrosius seemed very down to it. He had promised he was going to Guiana Current. So at this point, I was like, okay, let's plan on that. I'm not going to push any more on Cassandra. I'll just tell her she can go to Caracas, and that was my plan. I think I discussed all of my year 1 moves then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I can go ahead. Yeah, I'll preface this by saying I'm a very similar player to Vampire in that like I've played like a solid alliance like the last like 5 games I've played. Also worth noting, you mentioned the like a very solid EF that ran IDC, the IDR Invitational.
Yep.
I was the France in that alliance, and so I do like these. What I tend to do is I tend to identify. I tend to as a colonial, I'll tend to identify like a good colonial, like 1 or 2 good colonial partners, and then a collection of regionals that I like care about working with. And then as the game goes on, I'll just prune away relationships as they become less useful. In this case, in this game, in the very beginning, I was interested in running a EN, a Netherlands England alliance with Penman. In particular, I just wanted to avoid an EF because an EF will always kill Dutch and is really bad for me. So I was like going into pregame press, expressing interest in that. I really wanted to work with Austria in Europe. I was also happy to work with Poland, who is Cassandra, and then in Africa, I actually thought Dutch Congo was pretty decent, and this was one of the relationships that I did run. That was with Ezio. I was also happy to run a Dutch Abyssinia alliance with what was at the time, I believe, Danny, who I'm very fond of. And then, yeah, so it's kind of like an overview of what I was thinking going into pregame. In the first year, I was like in press. Penman seems like interested in alliance, but
Penguin is England, by the way.
Yeah, Penman
Yeah.
is England here. Ambrosius is France. He seemed interested in alliance, but he seemed kind of non-committal, which like I was fine with. That's kind of where you want to be as England. I decided to open to. I decided I wanted to try and play towards Germany, at least a little bit. So I ended up like doing some weird stuff with like my units. I really wanted to keep the tension low if possible in France year 1, especially because like I was trying to convince Austria to go to like Freiburg so that he could like I had the option to support him into Strasbourg if that shook out to be a thing, and he was just not at all interested. And I'm like, all right, so I just need to play friendly with France because I'm gonna have no angle on Europe. And I was like just desperately looking for someone to work with in Europe. I was like very positive with Cass, which kind of went nowhere. But I was very positive. I was like really wanted to work with Austria. He did not seem like he had any interest in playing towards Central Europe. And then Ambrosius and Penman on France and England, respectively, were fairly non-committal. That was basically the same dynamic in North America. Ambrosius was like talking about whether I wanted to do something like I don't think he wanted to just do a crusher on me because he was talking about how like the new changes you could go to Philadelphia in year 1 and then to Tello and Maryland, and then you've got 2 on Jamestown, which is a nice attack into England. And then in the Caribbean, I was again trying to like be friendly with Cass on Poland. I really wanted to avoid Permerbo getting dotted from Orinoco. So like I kind of figured that Bogota was gonna go to Orinoco because like it generally does. So I really wanted Cass to open to Caracas here. Because if she's in Caracas and you're in Cartagena and Orinoco, I think it is generally always correct to just force it. I also kind of disagree with the premise that that like Caracas is a source of tension between Poland and Spain. I think Caracas is just like kind of an indestructible dot for either of those powers. Whoever holds it is just going to hold it forever. because it is really hard to get an angle on it. Like, as Spain, if there is a fleet in New Courland and in Caracas, like, it's really hard to put a fleet. It's really hard to justify putting a fleet in Caribbean Sea, especially because you have to do it like without pissing off France. And you're never gonna, like, there's never any angle into Gulf of Paria, and so you can at most get Cartagena and Orinoco on it, which is just not enough if there's like a unit in New Courland to support hold. And then from the other direction, from Poland, if there's like, it's a very similar dynamic. You're going to have a hard time getting into Caribbean Sea, and there's generally going to be a unit in Cartagena and Caracas if you're ever like actually looking to push it, if you're putting something in Gulf of Paria. So those units tend to just stare at each other in New Courland and Caracas, which I think is a little bit better for Spain because New Courland is the core. So Poland really needs to get that open. But, you know.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And like, I think that was pretty much the argument from the Polish point of view, was that me being in Caracas was very much a threat to them.
Yeah.
And the reason to not is because then I have a very thankful Polish ally to help in the Caribbean. And they don't need to capture all of the Caribbean the same way any of the other colonials want to.
That's true.
And so I think there is a I think Poland and Spain can be very good allies for the Caribbean. And leaving that door open is important. Again, like, all of my press here was trying to avoid a very strong EF, because having played France and won with one of a very strong EF back in 1.5D, and like and seeing the IDR game, I think it's a lot of games you're just forced into the EF if both players are strong, because it's so hard to stab, and I'll talk more about this later. But it's just so hard to stab the other without being the one who's biggest to blame, and you get fewer gains. You mostly help people who neighbor them elsewhere get the gains from that.
Yeah.
Stab.
EF is one of those alliances where it sticks together until someone starts fighting, and once they start fighting, it keeps going until one of them's dead or both of them are dead. And that's almost always how it goes.
And so in my head, it's very important to avoid, because in the IDR game, the other three colonials died to tons of infighting. And so in my head, I very much did not want to dot Palermo, which is nuts for Spain if you do, because then the closest core is Sao Sebastião. Like, you've pushed them out so far. Like, it's an insane move. But it also like starts conflict.
It
across
fully
the board
commits
with
you
them.
into central, into like northern and central South
Yeah,
America.
and it's really rough into an EF.
Yeah, like
So
there are a lot of ways you get punished.
I was very worried about that, and I think it's a great move, but I was not considering it in this game, because I think it would have set us up poorly if an EF had arisen.
Mm-hmm. I do think that the opening moves, which we'll get to in a minute, did kind of mean that it was more safe than usual, but we'll get there. In like the rest of South America, I mean, I just wanted Belém, Amazonia with the armies. That's pretty standard stuff for Dutch opening. You play to those cores, and then you try and, like, my goal there was to consolidate the northern coast, and I was either going to do that by stabbing France or trading for Cayenne, and I wasn't super picky which. I kind of went into this game thinking, all right, I'm going to sacrifice one of my colonies here to either France or England. I'm either going to sacrifice probably New Amsterdam to France in exchange for Cayenne, or I'm going to sacrifice probably Saint Martin to England in exchange for, ideally, like, Cormonton.
As
and
a
like
side note,
Ouagadougou.
when I play Dutch on the rare occasion, I generally think St. Martin's just a better colony to have than New Amsterdam because you can link it up with South America and get a good thing going.
100%. 100%. It's much better. And like the way this game went, I ended the game with control of that entire like thought chain. But
Spoiler.
it's a little bit intimidating to try and hold on to Saint Martin if England has the Antigua core online, because they just have so many fleets around there, and it's like it's better to have, but like it will cause problems if the Antigua core stays online. If the Antigua core gets dotted, then you have every right to be like, well, you don't really have a presence here anymore, so I'm just going to play for this entire dot chain. But very, very often in an EN, like Antigua will be productive, and you just get like pressured out of Saint Martin. In Africa, I knew my goal there was to kind of I knew I wanted to play. I was kind of fine playing a lighter touch on inland Africa, and my goal there was to keep Congo from building too many fleets. So the way that went was Congo here was Ezio, very strong player, and I basically went to him and was like, yeah, I'm not going to contest you for like the inland areas. I'm very fine for you to take Mandara and me to take Sao Tome. What I recommend we do here is you stick to armies, you play inland. I will not build that many armies in West Africa. I'll just play mainly a fleet game. And then the other thing is, at some point, we can trade Hausa for St. Helena, which I think was something he suggested. Might have been me. I don't remember which. But my idea there was he can play the armies game. He can have that arc. There's a really funny image that Ottoman sent to me of at some point Ezio had armies, Congo armies in like Hausa, Busa, and I think like Senga or something like that. And Bird, who was Ottomans, drew a alligator mouth around it, around my West Africa, which is really funny. But the counterpoint was, if he has no fleets, he can't ever really attack my West Africa without dealing with the consequences of fleets pouring in from the South Atlantic. Because I played, I kind of kept South Atlantic fairly reasonably well supplied with fleets, and it meant that if he ever tried to stab me, he would just instantly have fleets in Angola Basin, pressuring in like Cape Basin, pressuring Walvis, pressuring Lopez Bay, and there was just never really any angle. So I was fine with that alliance as long as he didn't build fleets, which worked for a while. I opened as well to Cape Koe. I wanted to get that core online. I don't think it's ever realistic to get that core online the way South Africa is currently built. I am also a proponent of the map change of disconnecting Delagoa from Cape Koe because Portugal is really strong in the area. But as things go, generally Portugal will just build an army in Delagoa, and then whenever they want, they can just pressure you into giving away Cape Koe or dot you for it. There's just kind of no ability to hold on to that core. But I wanted to try it. And then lastly, in the Indian Ocean and in Indonesia, I knew I wanted to open Ceylon to INO, to the Indian Ocean. There were a couple reasons for this. The first is that it gives you a lot of leverage over France here, because if they ever come out really aggressive against you, well, you're threatening reunion. So, like,
Bad France.
You can just end that colony like immediately, and they can dot you in Ceylon back. But like, even if they do, that's a trade that strongly benefits you if you're in a death war, anyways. Because if you're in reunion, they have one core that can produce fleets that can push into INO out of Fort Dauphin, and you have Java and Makassar, and you have a fleet almost certainly in like Aceh, Aceh. You're gonna get something in Palembang. Like you just have an easy time kicking them out. So I knew I wanted to go into Indian Ocean. The other reason for that is because I really did not want England going anywhere near like Acha or Andamans. So I was like, yeah, you can take Madurai. I'm very okay with that. It also potentially has the benefit of causing tension between Portugal and England down the road. Or you can just core it and cause tension that way. I'm not super picky as long as it just doesn't like immediately threaten Ceylon, which it did not. And then for the rest of Indo, I knew that Ayutthaya was also an issue here. Ayutthaya was Enderman. They're a very tempo-oriented player, very aggressive player, and I knew that I just needed to shut them down pretty quickly. I was thinking this was like one of the first people I wanted to move on, and I was just trying to kind of smother them as fast as possible because if Ayutthaya gets going, it's incredibly powerful.
It's kind of similar to
shut it
Toku.
down.
It's not like it's not as oppressive when it gets going. Like Toku's just more oppressive in my opinion because it's much harder to fight back. But it's still very hard to like resist Ayutthaya once they're rolling. It's like a boulder coming downhill where Toku's an avalanche and Aya's a boulder.
Ayutthaya has the benefit of being very, very compact. So as long as it's fighting on like only one front, it's very easy to resupply that front with units from another theater. If they're fighting inland, like all of their armies are more or less going to the same place. Like Pegu is 3 moves from Dongqing. Like same way, like Ava's 2 moves, Bamo is 3 moves, Kunming is like 3 moves away from Pegu. Like they're all very close together. So if you're moving armies around, they're all connected. And then if you're fighting in like over like Andaman Isles or Aceh, I mean Malacca Strait touches Andaman Isles, Aceh, Palembang, which are all neutrals. None of them are cores, and then you have 2 cores on Malacca Strait.
But also it touches Riau Sea, and if Ayu gets if Ayu gets a fleet in here, then the Dutch are crippled for probably a year in terms of ability to get north. Because if you force it out,
I wouldn't say it's crippled. It's just like if they get an unopposed fleet in Riau Sea, like if you match them with a fleet in Banca, then less so, which is kind of how things went. But
if Dutch are prepared for it, then less so. But like if you sneak a fleet in here and the Dutch don't have 3 fleets right here, and even still, it's very painful because when Ayu has a fleet in here, it almost certainly means Natuna Sea is just lost because they take it.
Yeah.
And like you can retreat back there, but even you're not going to get much, right? And because and the thing is because Ayutthaya has all these armies that are so close, like you said, if you get up in here, Ayutthaya can bring armies back if they're doing okay somewhere else.
Yeah. It's a theater that's very much like whoever gets to jump on it tends to have an advantage. But the problem is if you're pushing Dutch, you get dots and then you get more dots. And if you're pushing Ayu, you get dots and then you run into a wall, which is kind of what happened this game. Like I ended up pushing in. I got like Andamans, Aceh, and I think I did get Nakhon Sea at one point. Yeah. And from there, it was just a nightmare to push any further. I held Natuna, I held Sambis, and I just couldn't really advance. That whole area is just kind of a fortress. And I really did not want to have that power get kind of out of control. And then lastly, the Formosa colony. The goal of that colony was just to have it survive long enough to be traded off for profit. So I kind of went into it thinking, I don't really want to get kicked out of Ryukyu. I want to keep the fleets around for as long as I'm able, but this colony is never really going anywhere. The best thing I can do with it is either get Spain off to a good start or get Ming off to a good start. And I'm not really picky which, because those are 2 powers that I want on side. Kind of my philosophy was I want Ming, who's King of Prussia, to be strong enough to handle Ayu, and I want Spain to be friendly because if you're friendly, I just think that benefits me a lot in the Caribbean and in South America, which is kind of how things went. That was kind of my thoughts going into year 1. I guess I didn't really talk about, no, I did talk about Europe. Yeah, I wanted to just kind of have the colony in Europe grow a bit, ideally go north into Germany. I wanted to have the colony in North America survive, and then I was not expecting to do much with it. I was expecting to trade it off most likely, but failing that, maybe it grows somewhere. and then the Caribbean and South America and Africa were the colonies where I really wanted to connect them. My goal was to kind of become a South Atlantic blob, which I did really achieve, just having fleet presence and power on like all of that area, which is kind of how things went, and just shut down all of the like tiny cores, the Polish core, the core in Antigua, the core in Cayenne, and just have like nobody contesting that area.
Yeah.
Because if I could do that, I could pull all of the fleets that were used from that process and just push them into South Atlantic, and from there, like I just have so many options for directions. Yeah, and then Indonesia, the goal was to just kind of grab the southern portion, push north. I guess I didn't really talk about the relationship to Portugal and Indo. I think I offered to Ignabright, who was Tefra, you can either have Danny or Flores. I'll take the other. And then I think he went with Danny, which makes sense. It's the pre-core. It's the better of the two dots. And I was like, I'm fine to chill with you there. But yeah, like I kind of want to trade for this colony eventually, but it's like no rush. And I kind of had a attitude towards Portugal, which is like, I think it's likely that we're going to fight eventually, but until that happens, I want to keep it fairly chill, because I don't think it benefits either of us to fight if we're not getting a lot out of it, which was apparently not an opinion he shared, but I think ended up being right.
I'm not sure. So yeah, I realized there were two people I had forgotten to discuss, and one was Portugal, the other was Ottomans. Tefra, Portugal was not super active during the first couple days of press.
That's
And
I
I
remember
heard
that,
from
yeah.
a lot of other people remarking on that. And that's kind of like in my head, that's like, oh, I think there's a good chance like this person's not going to have good relations with regionals, or might be the person on the outside.
No comment.
Because I think it's hard to emphasize how important I think the first couple of days of press, or like even the first day of press is, and because Tefra was like to me like, oh, I don't like to talk very much until there's stuff to talk about on the board, which is fair, but like I think so much of like people's like first couple years is being planned out in that first phase.
I think especially as Portugal, as Portugal, all like you have so many tiny colonies, right? You have Muscat, you have India, which is pretty small. You have Macau, which is pretty small. You have Africa, which is pretty small. You need to be in people's ears early, getting them used to the idea of Portugal. Portugal, that guy, he's a trustworthy partner. He's wanted to work with me the whole game, and he's not a threat. He just has this one little chord. He's not a threat to me. I can afford to work with him, and he'll push my interest in a way that benefits me.
He'll balance the other colonials.
Portugal is 100% a colonial that's like, it is by far the most boom or bust colonial. I mean, we've seen like, in like the past like 5 waves, there's been like a solo, I think like nearly every wave. It's posted like 4 like 150 plus VSCC games. If it gets rolling in the late game, it is incredibly powerful. But in the early game, it's very vulnerable. And those things are very connected because it's got a bunch of well-placed cores, but they're small and can die early. Timur and Danny are both fantastic cores, but they're very vulnerable. Macau is is absolutely incredible, but Ming is trying to kill it as fast as possible. Muscat is a very good core if it comes online. Like I've seen actually some quite nice Portuguese Arabias, although right now it's just completely dead. There's never any world where Muscat should be on more than 1 dot after follow 1. Like
I agree. I think Muscat's really, really rough, and I think most Safavids should just kill it. Sometimes they don't. As Portuguese player, it's your job to talk them into not killing it.
Typically,
Mhm.
I think you either want to talk them into attacking Mughals or attacking Ottomans. Like those are your options, basically.
I think the correct thing to do with that relationship is convince them to go to Mara, and that is how I would play Portugal if I played it again right now. Because any world where you're saying I'm gonna go anywhere but Gulf of Masira, if I'm hearing that as Safavids, I'm thinking, okay, if you're going Strait of Hormuz, I'm bouncing you in Rustak. If you're going Rustak, I'm forcing you out. And there is just no flexibility to that arrangement. Because Portugal that has like 2 fleets in the area is a threat, and Safavids doesn't need another enemy.
Yeah.
But I mean, the rest of the colonies are quite strong, though. Like especially on this patch before the changes to India, the India colony is very strong. The South Africa colony has some very well placed cores. It's 3 dots, so it's kind of hard to justify. And for reference, when I say justify, I mean get to producing towards VSCC, which is 1 dot is 1 dot to 4 dots is a justified colony, because all of the colonials have a VSCC that is 4 times their starting number. So as Portugal, you go from 16 to 64. That's a 1 to 4 ratio. So a justified colony is a 1 dot colony that's reached 4 dots, a 2 dot colony that's reached 8, and a 3 dot that's reached 12. But the thing about the Portuguese Africa is that if it does get rolling, it can sometimes just kill all of Africa. Something similar for the Portuguese South America. It's hard to justify because it's 3 dots there as well. But if it gets rolling, you can just steamroll Urani, or you can kind of pincer Mapuche coming from SPO with the Timor colony. Like, they're slow colonies, but once they get rolling, they're absolutely incredible. And Portugal's just in a lot of theaters where it's fragile, but once it stops being fragile, like, it can pop off.
Yeah, 100%. But Tefra's lack of press early definitely made me wary of like working with him long term. But also, I knew they were going to be in trouble, or most likely to be in trouble, and I was still worried about the EF. And the easiest way to counter an EF is to just work with both Portugal and Dutch as Spain, and just the 3 of you just kill all their side colonies, and then even if they are making tons of progress in Europe and North America, if they're losing all their little pieces everywhere else, they will start to falter on those fronts, because EF forces at least some of the regionals in America to work against them, and Europe, everybody has to work against.
I actually kind of disagree with the principle of what you said. I think the problem with what you said is that, like, as Spain, if you're working with Portugal and Netherlands, or as Netherlands, if you're immediately jumping to work with Netherlands and Portugal, or jumping to work with Spain and Portugal, you're kind of creating a situation where EF becomes necessary. And so my philosophy going into this game was that I really wanted to peel France and England off of one another. I really wanted to keep them from becoming allied by like allying one of them myself and getting them fighting.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like I was doing that, like working with Ambrose there. I was doing it a lot more with Ambrose because I think Spain and England have a lot more tension in the Caribbean than Spain and France.
Oh yeah.
When I say I'm keeping doors open, I'm not dotting you and Parmerbo. I'm not doing aggressive things like year 2 with Canaries. Like,
I see what you mean.
It's leaving the door open to respond, but being careful not to form something that forces them to do it in response.
I get what you're saying, actually. Sorry, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that is, for example, looking back to IDC, the IDR championship game, that is what kind of doomed the other colonials in that game. Was, I think, Basil on Spain dotted ALS on Dutch in Paramurbo year 1, and then they spent the next like 2 or 3 years death warring while
and it was a newer Portugal, I think, or less experienced.
Less experienced.
I will say the Paramurbo, at least in my view, because we played Blitz, what was it, a few days ago, and I was on Spain and dotted Paramurbo in year 1. I'm gonna be honest. Part of the reason I want to do that on Spain is because I just don't think the Netherlands should really fight it after that. Problem is, the Netherlands have no.
I agree, but if Aeolus is the Netherlands,
yeah,
as a colonial, you have to be willing to, like if someone dots you have to be willing. You don't have to put it past you necessarily, but you have to be willing to look past it for the time being.
I mean,
you can get your revenge later, but
if I'm getting dotted on Paramurbo, like I'm gonna spend like maybe a phase trying to fight it, and after that I'm gonna be like, all right. Because the problem is, if Spain dots Paramurbo, the consequence of that is that all of the fleets in Indo are now going north, without question. Like, there's going to be a fleet in Makassar and Manado, and there's a fleet in Banjarmasin, and everything there is moving north. Like, Banjarmasin supports Manado or Makassar to Celebes. If they're in Dani, then Dani supports Manado to Halmahera. And then there's a ton of pressure on Zambo. You're offering IU support into Kota Batu. Like, the whole thing is just like, all right, this is a giant headache for the Philippines colony.
It is, so but even then, it's still categorically the worst move for the Netherlands. Like, if I think in that situation the Dutch might be better off.
It opens their back up to Portugal and IU, and once IU gets a foothold.
And once IU gets Kota Batu, they're just going to turn like I think in that situation as Dutch, what you're probably better off doing is going to Spain and being like, Spain, unless you give me Kota Batu in exchange for Paramurbo, I'm going to work with IU, and then Spain should say, okay, take it. Like that's
I agree with that.
And I think Paramurbo for Kota Batu is a really good trade for Spain and not really good for the Netherlands, but
that's true. But you've also got a Netherlands who is like, all right, well, I'm going to remember this, and probably is going to stab me the very first chance they get.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it really entirely is dependent on the players, right? Like,
yes. Well, the reason, in my opinion, the reason you would try to diffuse that fight as Spain is like if you're worried about an EF, for example, or if England and France are fighting.
100%.
If England and France are fighting, then I think you just let the Netherlands run at you and kill them. Like it doesn't have any effect.
Yeah. But yeah, the other super important relationship that I forgot to talk about it entirely is the Mediterranean, and Spain and Ottomans, and I think that so if any power controls the entire Mediterranean, they're almost certainly in impunity. It's tons of dots, really powerful. Once you start dominating with fleets there, it's really hard for somebody else to break that. It requires really good cooperation with whichever is losing of Spain or Ottomans with both France and Austria most often.
I'm starting to see why the Roman Empire was so powerful, right? It's like you have this sea. They called it our sea, Mare Nostrum. It was pretty effective.
But at the same time, I've also seen a lot of games where both Ottomans and Spain do relatively well for the first couple of years and just pump so many builds into the Mediterranean that they start to struggle elsewhere. And I think I was looking through, before this game, I was looking through the powers that have won together the most. And Spain and Ottomans have a surprisingly high number of wins together. And I think, like, I came into this with the idea, like, if it's possible to have a peaceful Mediterranean, I think that's really good for both Ottomans and Spain. That you're both pretty much colonials in that, insofar as you have plenty of other directions to gain dots. I think that's actually one of the most powerful things about colonials in imperial diplomacy is you have a lot more freedom in your alliances. Like at the beginning, we saw KOP talking about his thoughts with Ming, and he is allied with some of his neighbors, but he also kind of feels like he's in a position where he has to kill some of them or it's going to be bad for him later. And there are definitely, and I think that's true of a lot of regionals. For colonials, I think there are alliances and stuff that are better and worse. But because you're so spread everywhere and you can get to your victory condition from so many different areas, you are able to ally with any of the other colonials in a way that, like, it's just really hard for two neighboring regionals to ally with each other. Or you're also able to ally with any set of regionals, provided you're gaining in other areas. So I think that's one of the strongest and part of the level of agency that I'm talking about with a colonial. So I came into here wanting to have a peaceful Mediterranean if possible. And I thought it would be very good for both me and Ottomans. And part of that involves swapping Naples and Tunis. I think Naples is a better core than Tunis, but I think it's a reasonable request by Ottomans. And it's really hard to hold on to Naples because part of what makes it such a good car is it's so central to literally so many Ottoman dots that, like, a fleet build there threatens everything for them. So like there isn't a way that I think I could have made Ottomans comfortable with me there and kept it.
Well, you could have put an army there.
Sure, yes. I think an army there is not very useful.
That's a loser mentality right there.
We'll see later on. I tried to do something like that. But yeah, like I think once I'm trading off, like part of it is it requires them to trust me, and there are lots of like if I'm asking to take Tunis, there's not a world where I can take Tunis and not give them Naples. And I kind of wanted to just, as a preemptive to having a peaceful Mediterranean, if they cover Naples year one, I cover Tunis year one. That's just that many fewer fleets that can be built in the first place. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if we did it year one or year two, but.
Well, I guess we're going to have to see.
Yeah. That's it for me.
All right. Any fun rumors that you want to go over before looking at moves, or do you want to look at moves and then go over fun rumors?
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's only been an hour and 7 minutes, and we're finally going to get to moves. Oh my god.
Hooray.
All right, spring moves. We're going to ignore everything else and look at Ming. This is pretty straightforward. So there's not much of a here. I go for this Toku Crusher.
Kyushu Crusher.
Yeah, really, wow. It's almost like I spent all my time talking about how much I wanted to rip Tokugawa's face off. No comment.
Shocking.
Shocking indeed. Yes, the only thing of note here is that Ayutthaya, after heavily implying they were going to open to Siem Reap, opened to Lansang, which means they wanted Dongqing, which is not a surprise to me, but what it is more evidence that I need to kill Ayutthaya as quickly as possible because I don't trust him.
And be worried of Portugal.
Yes. Yeah, well, this is normal from Portugal, but yes, I do a lot of press with Portugal.
Portugal support Lansing to Dongqing.
I do a lot of press with Portugal through spring and fall, which luckily he's around for. And I try to ingratiate myself with him as much as possible, mostly by pointing out, hey, I mean, if you attack me, if you help Ayutthaya attack me in Dongqing, then I'm not going to be able to fight Mughals, which is a fair point, except for the fact that he let Mughals into Hyderabad.
Yeah,
India this first year is wild.
This is
a rookie mistake. This is something that, like, someone who has not ever even played regular diplomacy before comes in and they play Portugal and they're like, oh, Mughal says that they're going to be my friend if we just set the border right here. Okay, well, let me just walk over there.
You're talking to someone who played Mughals on the old patch and sent Delhi north and left it open. So, like, I do get what you're saying, but also I kind of have done the equivalent of this.
You can't.
It's obvious the pitch is.
But you cannot have Mughals in Hyderabad the first year because you just immediately. It's an immediate death sentence, right?
Yeah, but I mean, what we see ends up happening is Raja Mahendra gets forced, right? So
that's obviously at least the pitch. Yeah, it doesn't work out, which is even more wild. But at least the pitch is. I'm going to kill England here. You're going to get the south of India. obviously it requires a lot of trust on the part of Portugal.
Yeah, so the pitch
Die
is
immediately.
yeah, the pitch is, hey, you're gonna get the south of India, I'm gonna kill England, and then once that's done, I mean, the game's over. We don't have to worry about what I'm gonna do with all these armies I'm gonna have down here next. You don't got to think about that very hard,
Exactly.
okay? And apparently, Tefero was just like, yeah, you know what? I mean, I think after year 2, the game's gonna
Well,
be done, so we don't have to think about that.
This one's going to be interesting in fall. Let me just say that.
Oh yeah, well, I'm around. We're gonna have a good time. All right, we'll start with some Spanish moves.
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked over most of these. I'm getting Rome, Sardinia, Belarus. I'm going to convoy into Tangier. I'm taking Marrakesh. The Tunis Naples trade is next year, and I don't remember. I think I went to Rome West Coast here, but I'm not certain. It looks like it's pointing at East Coast, but Rome is just weird.
But it should be West. I think based on the moves I examined, it should be West Coast here.
Here, actually, let me check.
We'll just correct.
Yep, it's definitely West Coast. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. We'll call it good.
Yeah, so I go to West Coast. Still like a little like going east. Rome East Coast really pushes you very pro Ottoman. It's very anti Austria.
West Coast
Rome,
is more flexible.
Yeah, more flexible. Lets you have an impact on Florence. Lets you later on go to Tyrrhenian or Florence or for Ligurian. Yeah, I think it's just a lot more flexible. Strait of Otranto, I think, was agreed. It was scary, but like having an alliance with someone requires a level of trust. And if Ottoman immediately dots Naples, I'm in a poor position. But I think I have I think in general, 1-dot stabs in year 1 are unless the person has no further boundary with you, they're just not a good idea because so many powers close to double year 1 that if Ottomans dot Naples here, I dropped 3 more Mediterranean fleets. I have an army in Tangier. It's not a good. It's not worth dotting Naples, especially when we've agreed to trade it year 2. Do you want to just go through your European moves, Glossen, while we're here?
Yeah. So I opened to Cologne. I wanted to get that secure. And then I send a fleet up to Bremen. I determined that Austria was not going to Bremen, so I was like, sure, I might as well. I talked with Inc, and I was like, I kind of would like Kiel.
Inc is Sweden, by the way, for everyone. Inc is Sweden.
Yes, Inc is Sweden. And he was like, no, I'm getting Kiel. I'm like, all right, sure. I kind of did the posturing thing, and then I was like, yeah, that's fine. I was so I knew something about Europe, which is that you had Inc on Sweden, who is kind of a very paranoid player and tends to be a little bit abrasive sometimes. And then Cassandra on Poland, who is a very abrasive player. And I was was trying to be friendly with Cassandra because I figured she's going to get into fights with her neighbors. This is just going to happen. And I want to be someone who is on side for her when that happens because, I can probably get some benefit out of, a Polish-Swedish death war, and I think it's probably better to be friendly with
It's way
Poland
better
in that case.
Poland, because you're going to have a fleet in Bremen, and your fleet can only get Kiel, it can't get Lübeck.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really want to, I think Inc was trying to get me to send the army to Bremen, and I'm like, no, why would I do that? I need to go claim Cologne. And so, also the Paris army to Reims, that was pretty obviously going to Luxembourg, but with the fleet going to English Channel, I don't remember if English Channel bounce was arranged or not. I think what happened... Was it arranged?
I don't remember, but the rest of the moves certainly were.
Yeah,
we're going to look at those moves.
I think they agreed not to bounce, and then both of them defected on English Channel bounce, and over in the We'll get to North America in a minute,
yeah,
but
North America, we don't got to
so-
worry about the English and French. We're worried about the
Yeah,
peace in our time in Germany.
Yes.
Yeah, and then-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
also Austria does not open to Freiburg, meaning that France can bounce Freiburg if he wants.
This opening from,
didn't,
by the
but-
way, this opening from Austria makes very little sense to me because you have several
Yeah,
options
I don't
as
like it.
Austria. Your options are like secure. No, I'm
I
speaking.
think-
No,
I
no,
think-
no. I'm going over this. No, your options are
Okay.
secure Freiburg, and and like run something like this where you're gonna get Venice and fall and maybe split or something, right? Your other option is to secure Trieste, which is going to be like being very aggressive about it, like so. One of your options is to secure Rome, so that'll see you going like this, 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 and this, right? And then you'll for sure get Rome. You'll maybe get split, right? Your options do not include some ungodly mix of these. Okay, if you're going to Venice in spring, you're not securing Freiburg, which means you're going to want to be able to have the option of taking a pot shot at Rome and forcing it. So you should not be moving. You should not be moving to Venice if you're not going to also go to take Rome. You should be going to take Freiburg because that's a more secure center to be taking. This opening is bad.
Well, this
A lot
opening
of
is
people
bad,
were
but I think it is.
lying to them
Yeah.
here.
I think it is kind of tailored to the situation.
Well, this is diplomacy.
ended up working out.
You should expect people to be lying to you, and you should make your moves based on that instead of being like.
So
well,
there were discussions with me, Ottoman, and France. I don't remember if Poland was involved or not, of just immediately killing Austria. And that's these Ottoman moves. This was why I was fine with Ottomans in Strait of Otranto. It's because they're using it to force split. The agreement was I was, because France was insisting on course, I was going to bounce Austria out of Florence. The agreement was they were supposed to take Florence and Venice. I would bounce them out of Florence, but they weren't supposed to know that. And then France was going to bounce them out of Freiburg.
Yeah, I did not check. It would not surprise me if Ambrosius leaked, if France leaks the entire thing to Austria. Because
I mean, France wasn't the only one then. But we'll get there in fall moves.
hit him with a no comment.
Should we take a look at North America?
Let's look at South America actually.
All right. Also,
All right,
you could briefly see the English bouncing Portuguese, which is just that should never happen. Can you
No,
scroll
I
to
believe
not our
it was
problem.
unintentional.
yeah?
They
Can you
just
scroll to
didn't
North
coordinate.
Atlantic for like 2 seconds?
This being unintentional is an indictment on both Penguin and Tefra.
Yeah,
This
that's
should
worse.
Yes,
Like
yes.
that's worse.
As England, you should go to Portugal and just say, I am moving a fleet to NAO1. Your ball.
Or
You
if you
should
don't want to share which, be like, I'm going to evens or I'm going to odds, and it's like, all right, great. You don't even have to tell them. But,
you
like,
just even
this-
your odds. This
just,
is
like-
so bad.
It should never happen. And also, amusingly, unintentionally, kind of screwed with Port Royal moving to Gulf of Maine because now Bermuda never left. But
We'll look at that later. South America.
we'll come back to that. Yeah. I mean, these
It's
are pretty stock.
the most basic South America that you've ever seen.
Well, it's not.
The only thing is France to Guyana Current.
Yeah, that is very strange, and that will be continued in a minute. But otherwise, like the rest of the moves are very stock. If you scroll a little bit up, you can see New Corlin did end up happening, New Corlin to Crocus did end up happening. You guys successfully lied to Cass. Otherwise, not really some crazy stuff. I guess you could look at like southern South America. There was no Mapuche Crusher, and I don't think whatever Fiend was doing was arranged. I don't remember exactly, but I think there was some tension there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Fiend and Aeolus. You kind of can trust them to fight. Which is exactly what I did. Rio open to Kongag. I was happy to see that, and I think I asked for it not to go Bahia, and he was like, Tefra was like, yeah, that's fine. Portugal said that was fine. Yeah, otherwise fairly standard stuff.
Yeah. Friendly. All right, let's go somewhere that's not North America. Africa. Look at that nice arranged bounce.
Yep.
That's
I believe that was in range bounce. Yeah, and then I was
better,
gonna
but
go take
if
Hausa.
that bounce was also not arranged, we're gonna have some serious issues.
No, I think it was. I think that was in range bounce.
I also think that's a bad arranged bounce for England.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It's bad for England.
Yeah,
good for
it's a
England.
bad bounce.
Like if France or for Dutch, it's totally fine because you're guaranteed Benin. But like, not being in Ouagadougou for England is
You
like
just put,
gives you so much less control over it.
yeah, you just lose so much flexibility and risk not getting a dot.
Yeah, because the other thing is that what you can do sometimes is England. I've done this. I did this in one of my games. Is sometimes Poland ends up in Ndakaru in spring, right? And then you can walk Ouagadougou to Dijon, and you can have a 3 Africa dot uncontested, and it gives you a lot more leverage against Portugal as well, because Portugal typically ends up in Niani, and you're naturally going to have 2 units next to it. So if Portugal ever starts screwing around with you in like India or North Atlantic, you have this immediate.
Yeah,
like,
you can go fuck with Niani.
Oops, my finger slipped. Your colony's gone.
Yeah.
And it's just very nice. And this bounce prevents any of that from happening. Now, it's not going to happen in most high-level games because Poland, generally for Poland, having Dijon is better than having Ndakaru. Because in Dijon, you can play Portugal and England off each other, and you have options with the Ottomans, and you have a lot more flexibility. But, you don't want to impede, as England, you don't want to impede your flexibility, just in case Poland feels like Ndakaru was the better option for them here.
Yeah. And we'll see how that goes in fall. But yeah, it was a good bounce for me. I just picked up Benin. There are, like, one thing you can do as Dutch is you can play for Mandara and Hausa and try and pocket Benin. My kind of issue with that is that if I'm doing that, I either need to pick a fight with Congo early or cede Sao Tome to them. And I figured I really want to have Sao Tome here because having control of that dot and having there not be a fleet come out of Mbanza is really, really important for just security of the cores in that area. Yeah. Otherwise, not really anything crazy in Africa. I mean, I think, they did do a little bit of a weird thing, I think, where Abyssinia and Ajuran, Danny really likes opening to Warsanguli on Abyssinia. So they did that, and Ajuran picked up, I think, Azande. But otherwise, fairly stock stuff.
Okay. That's just worse for Ajuran, but, fine by me. Not my problem.
I'm not sure it's worse for Ajuran.
It puts Ajuran directly between Congo and Abyssinia. It just feels like flatly worse to me.
Yeah.
And it also just it gives Abyssinia complete security up here, which is like okay, but I wouldn't do it.
I mean, if you're more singly though, if you have an army there, like where does it go?
It sits there and prevents Abyssinia from screwing with you. It's like, hey, if you ever screw with me, I have this army right here to prevent that. It's just very nice.
Didn't you let Danny get Warsanguli in the game that you played as Acheron and he played as Abyssinia?
I can neither confirm nor deny the allegations.
Okay.
I forget, honestly. That game was entirely dominated by the fact that Portugal just refused to ever negotiate on anything and took every opportunity to ruin my game whenever he could. And I was like, dude, what did I do to you to deserve this? And it was like,
that game was a bit of a clown show.
Oh, well, you took Zanzibar. Yeah, I took Zanzibar. It's right there. What?
Yeah. All right.
Anyways, Indonesia.
Otherwise,
pretty standard.
Yeah, fairly standard stuff in Indo and INO. I did what I said I was going to do. I opened to INO. I went Palembang. I was going to pick up Acha and Palembang. Nothing really crazy. Opened to Banda, can either go Danny or Flores. Portugal did something very similar. Let's go check out the place that matters in this part of the world.
Well, that's
not yet.
What do you mean?
Not yet.
Oh, this?
Let's go.
What do you want to see? Oh yeah, well, Toku's just being killed.
We already talked about it. Yeah, all right.
The only remaining thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I spent all of spring coordinating a death killer coalition on Tokugawa, and I don't know if anyone even leaked. Did anyone even leak this to him? I don't think anyone did.
I don't think so.
No.
I kept it. I'm good at the whole kill one thing.
It was not clear that it was generated from you until after the game to me.
Oh no! I did not let anyone know that. So
I knew it was generated from you.
Well, I
100% knew it was generated from you.
Well, here's the thing. I I learned this lesson very early on in my diplomacy career because in Alpha 2 of Imperial Diplomacy, in A2 Aster, I, as France, organized a execution of England. What we did for those unaware is I put a fleet in English Channel in year 1 as France. Dutch put a fleet in Southern Bight, and then put their army in Ghent. And we convoyed the Dutch army to Plymouth and put the Dutch fleet in London. And that was the killer in Europe. We also England lost a bunch of stuff out here and out in the Caribbean. I basically, as France, organized the execution of England in year 1. And that was very good. And then my biggest mistake was that I made clear to everyone, like, yeah, that was me. I'm pretty cool, aren't I? And so I distinctly learned from that experience. When I organized the killing of Tokugawa over here, what I always said to to anyone who asked, especially Tokugawa, was like, I mean, yeah, I didn't really want to do this, but Shane kind of sold me on this vision of like killing Tokyo, and I was like, you know what, let's do it. When in reality, I sold Ching on this vision. I was like, hey, I think we just killed Tokugawa right off the bat, and I explained why. And that was very convincing. I got a very resounding approval on that motion. And yes, I did not make it clear until after the game to anyone else that it was me, because the thing is when players start going downhill, a lot of times they're going to be dead anyways, and they're going to be picking who they want to interrupt more, who they want to screw with more, whose game they want to ruin. And I really wanted to make sure that the person whose game would take the bigger hit from this was Ching. I wanted, when Toku started going downhill, I wanted Toku to want to throw everything at Ching and give me all the dots he could. And so I never took credit for this until after the game. What I did was I posted in my little void, my private channel that spectators can see, and I pinged the @Tokugawa roll so that when Mayota died, he'd see it and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, look, KOP killed me," or I basically confessed to being the one to organize the coalition.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I knew this was coming. I actually kind of waffled on carrying it through because once it was clear that like everyone was fighting Toku, like there was some consideration just being like, well, I mean, it's a lot easier for Dutch to work with like a 4-center Toku than or like a 5-center Toku than it is to work with like a functioning Toku. There's like maybe a world where I live if I do this, but I wasn't sure. Like I don't know.
The problem is that if you do that, my ability to fight Toku just collapses, and so the thing is the effect of you defecting from the coalition is I will do it immediately afterwards, and you will.
Yeah, that is the problem, and then we're back where we started with a Toku that is functional again.
Well, I mean, they're not being. They're not going to be
the place that matters.
They're not going to be functional, but
My thinking here was not even that far. It was if I bounce Bonin Islands, then I get a pocket dot, and I wanted a pocket dot, and so my requirement from Dutch was you leave me Zamboanga. That's my pocket dot. I go there after, and so I'm sacrificing a build year 1, but I feel pretty confident that this is happening. I got assurances from everybody else, including Inuit. Who are also participating.
I talked a little bit to Inuit about this.
I mean, Inuit didn't end up doing any bounce. They
no, Inuit was a coward.
No, they didn't. No, they did. They later on they just attacked straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
all right. We'll get there. But
Tokugawa dead.
But I'm happy. I do have to kind of figure out a way to sell it to Toku. But after Fall moves, saying, hey, I did this because it meant I got a pocket dot. There's no way that you're going to be able to continue to bounce Bonin. That's all I'm taking, and you're good. So I felt happy with that, and then how I proceeded from there would depend on the board.
Mm-hmm. So all right, let's talk about where things happened.
Yeah, so as it turns out, when you're France and you go to attack England, you should have, Okay, Nighthawk's back, going back and forth. So when you're France and you go to attack England, you should try to have like a coalition of people. You want to get the Avengers together because that England guy is Thanos, and if you don't, bring a bunch of friends, he's just gonna take his hand and backhand you across the face, and you're gonna fucking die. And Ambrosius definitively did not get that memo because I'm noticing around the world that it's just France moving in on England, and like there's no Dutch units helping.
Yeah.
The thing about this,
I did not know that Ambrosius was just gonna like do this.
Yeah, so the thing about early attacks on other colonials is you need a friend. You cannot just run up to another colonial and try to sucker punch them and kill them. Like all you're gonna
Well,
do is give them a bruise, and then they're gonna punch you back, and you guys are gonna get like stuck in this hissy fight. And
so that's true. That being said, this was really effective. Like, kind of shockingly effective. So you can tell pretty, like, it's very clear what happened here.
Falmouth should never be
Penguin
going to
wanted to
Maine.
run.
So Falmouth should
Yeah.
never be going to Maine, and Boston
No.
should
So-
never be holding. This is a
No, so I can explain this. So Penguin wanted to run a really hard EF. This is what's happening here. I can tell you that that's what's happening because this moveset is nearly identical, at least on the English side, to the moveset that me and Addy played in IDC, the IDR Invitational, where we played a very hard EF. And one of the things we did is I traded Port Royal for St. Anthony and later for Guadeloupe. So that main unit is moving to take what is, I believe, an agreed upon trade for Port Royal. And St. John's is going to Newfoundland Banks to support Cabot Strait into St. Anthony. And Boston is holding so that it can't just walk into Ville Marie, because Ville Marie is going to go to Seneca, and Fort Detroit's going to go to Menominee, and Port Royal is going to go to Cabot, and none of that happened.
obviously.
Yeah, so what we get instead is this mess.
This is awful. And I have another criticism. If you know England's going to Maine to take Port Royal, then you should be moving Quebec to Gaspé to cover it. Oh my god.
I do agree with that. I think makes more
for
sense.
France, the best the best way to play this position is to take Gulf of Maine and support it into Boston. And then England's
100%. That's what I would have done.
The problem is that if you can't also cover Port Royal, then you have no more tempo. England gets to build another fleet in Bermuda and bring it out and take everything back. You have to have Port Royal. Even if you're not building a fleet there, even if England holds in Maine, say England just holds in Maine and you walk your own fleet into Port Royal, at least you have the fleet here ready to fight. You cannot just let them have it. You can't.
Yep. No, I agree. I 100% agree.
The first year, the spring stab to kill an opposing power has to be perfect. You can't half-ass it. You can't be like, okay, well, I'm going to stab them down here, but up here I'm going to go greed for neutrals. No, you have to go all in. The death has to be instant.
Yeah.
Yep, and it wasn't. So
it wasn't. I mean, France still had a lot of momentum coming out of this.
It's all
they
for
still
nothing.
Nearly doubled. But the problem is you're nearly doubling, and there's an Athabasca army, I think, ending up in Menominee. I'd have to double check that, but there's an Inuit which gets a free run of it. They can do whatever they want.
I mean that's the other thing here is if you're doing this in England, then the thing about France and immediately going to kill England is you have to also have the understanding that Athabasca is going to be on your ass quickly, because if they're not, they're going to get killed in approximately 2 seconds after England's dead. So
that's true.
So
honestly, if I saw this as Atha, I'd probably bounce EU and just be like to Ute, hey, you want to go? I mean, there's a unit moving to Salish here, so that's not happening.
Yeah,
but
the thing is what you need to buy time in the West. So that's why Fort Detroit here has to go to Menominee. Seneca is less important because and this is all very
I
this is
don't know if I agree with that.
I know you should.
Dutch can cause as many problems as Atha can.
No, you want Dutch on site. You want to buy Dutch's supports. The thing is,
ideally,
I guess, and this is from me, from the guy who, as France, worked with Netherlands to kill England. So obviously, I have a way I want to do this. But what you want to do ideally is you want to take Menominee. You want to be able to build an army here and just hold Athabasca and prevent them from ever getting behind your lines like this. And you want to sell Netherlands Seneca in exchange for them building maybe a fleet here and helping to take Boston. You want to have a coherent position right in here after England's dead. And that works very well in the Caribbean, because if you want to fully eliminate England, then you need Dutch support in the Caribbean. You're going to need this fleet to help, and you're going to want Dutch down here to be attacking England. The reason you're going to want Dutch down there attacking England is because it takes up more units. You're going to want Dutch to be on side in the Indian Ocean, right? Because that means that your position in Africa is not going to be griefed by your immediate, by you trying to pretend you're William the Conqueror and doing all of this, right? And this all just doesn't. This configuration just doesn't work, in my opinion, because you leave yourself too open to other people, and you don't get enough from it.
Mhm.
So,
yeah. The other aspect of this is France hadn't told me either, and they had repeatedly assured me, if we scroll down a little bit, repeatedly assured me that they were going to Barbados, and so the kicking Poland out of Caracas is easy, but if they just retreat to Caribbean Sea and then build another fleet, they're still very present and this is
your position goes nowhere now, basically, if you kick them out of Caracas.
Yeah, so if they had instead been like, hey, I'm going to pretend like I'm doing this, I'm actually going to do something else, I would have pressed a lot harder to not have Cass go to Caracas, and not burn that bridge.
Yeah, which by some miracle causes Cass to go harass me instead. But
no, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, with France doing this to England, but clearly not going to win off of it, it would be very tempting for me as fan to just be like, "Oops."
Yeah. So the our anti-Toku stuff is the reason that I didn't. So if we go over to
this happened. Yeah.
Like, I think I've committed to this move. Like, I think if Tefra had been more active and I had good conversations with them about hitting Glossen in Indonesia, that only came later. I would have considered it a bit more, but as it was, I thought the pushing everybody to my north into Toku was going to be very good for me, gave me a lot of space, and I thought dotting Pamerbo did a whole lot to derail that, and I was already kind of like...
I was going to say, as it turns out, we're seeing another downside of the strategy of attacking another colonial and then not telling anybody is all of their plans are set up to not help you with your task, and so you're just not going to accomplish anything.
Yep.
Listen, kids, I understand that if you want to attack somebody else, you want those plans to be secret so your stab goes well. But you need buddies to attack other people. You can't just rock up to somebody your size in the street and punch them, because they're going to punch you back. You want to have some buddies, and maybe you also want to have some knives,
If I had known France was doing these moves, I might have definitely considered Bogota to Cartagena and Panama to Honduras. Like, I don't know if that's great, but it's at least a 50-50 to prevent fleet build in Belize.
Yeah.
I ended up getting better than that.
I think if France was doing this to England, then England might just concede it, right? England might just be like, okay, you can have
that's exactly what happened. So I think it ended up being better, but I would have at least considered it and like probably done other things. Like, as far as I'm concerned, as Spain, if France is doing this moveset and I know about it, I am so pro France everywhere. Like, I'm fine to have you in course. I'm fine. Like, I will dot Pamerbo. Just give me a warning so I can like do my press around the world to set this up.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So, yeah, that was Ambro's super secret England stab that didn't really have any help. Like, I think it is fine to do a concealed stab like this every now and then, but you need to know where people stand, and you also need to not do it year one. Because if you do it year one, there's a bunch of unclaimed neutrals and a bunch of space that your neighbors are going to advance into, which is exactly what Inyo did.
To stab somebody else year one, you have to really have set it up. Like, you can't just do it that way. You have to do it with a lot of backup.
Which is what happened to Toku.
Yes, but when I wanted somebody dead, I went to all of their neighbors and I was just like, hey, you know how this guy like kills you all eventually if they have a good game? Why don't we just we can all pitch in a little bit And
I mean, I think it helped that it was Toku specifically.
yeah, I mean, well, Toku also
Like-
is just a very easy target. Like it's hard to do this
Yeah,
to other
like,
powers. I think England might be
if
the
you're
second
if you're
easiest target
trying to
do this
pitch
to, by the
this
way.
as like,
England might be the second
trying to pitch
easiest
this-
target for this.
yeah, like it's like Toku and Ming and maybe Moogle that this works on. Like,
You can do it to
Athapasca
England.
on the previous map.
well, the problem with
Plus one
Athapasca
person.
is that Athapasca has 2 neighbors. Year 1.
And there was still a killer.
Yeah, I
Moves
mean, Athapasca is just a weak power. It has problems. Like, I'm playing it right now. It is not a strong power. It's
I
neighboring.
disagree. I have. There's a very good. Yeah, I won't talk
Yeah,
more about.
I mean,
ongoing
okay,
games.
Inuit's a strong power. France is a strong power. But anyway, we're not talking about those games right now.
Bum bum bum.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. Fall moves.
Yeah, I think we've wrapped. Let's see. Anything else interesting going on? Standard.
Oh.
Standard.
Yeah.
look at that.
Cass tries to go for Yassi.
Yeah, this just ain't it.
Like, this is what I was talking about Cass picking fights. Like, this is Cass
Yeah,
picking
Pocket.
fights.
Pocket Konigsberg going for Ochakiv and Jossi.
It's very greedy and it's not gonna work. Or even if it does work, it's
Let's
just
see.
like,
Did it work? Oh, didn't.
I mean, she got the support hold, but like, she also didn't get Jassy, so
Could have done.
yeah, the Pressburg, I know.
Could have
But
crippled Austria right there. I mean, you know.
I don't know if you want to
Alright,
do
well-
that though.
Well,
is
I'll
the
start with my
problem.
moves. On the
Yeah,
right side. So,
yeah.
fall of year 1, 1642. So what happens here is we are not entirely certain if Toku is actually going to try for Bonin or hold Kyushu. So we put 3 of my units on Kyushu, and we have this 50-50, which is not really a 50-50. Honestly, it's pretty good. Ching, in exchange for me agreeing not to, greed for Fusan, agrees to bounce Ainu. So this is a quantifiable 0 build Tokugawa.
Yeah, which is
This
just
is-
incredibly cursed.
This is
I feel like you're
dead
supposed to
as Toku gets.
explode the army and build 4 fleets. Or sorry, build a fleet. But I don't remember if that's what he
I
did.
think they do, but yeah, it's the right move is to get rid of the army. Obviously, I mean, there's some mild benefit to putting the army in Shikoku instead, right? You have this kind of attack
Meh.
on Kyushu, but it's still not really worth it. You want the extra fleet so you have more options. But yeah, this coalition of Toku's success, Toku's game is ruined. What made this even funnier is that Miyuta replaced someone who had dropped out at the last minute. So the guy gets into the game, Rose Toku must have been like, oh, I got Toku, okay, I'm going to have a decent time, I just got to play slowly, and eventually my game will get going. And just immediate death. So thank you,
King of
Miyuta,
Prussia
for playing.
organizes a game, needs to find a sudden sub, finds the sub, and then instantly kills the sub.
I didn't know he was going to be given
Absolutely.
Toku, you know?
Absolutely cruel.
If I had known he was going to be on Toku, I may as well have gotten Firebender.
Ouch. Alright, nothing else terribly
this is
crazy. I mean, the
This-
Mughal...
This is me walking Ching into Russia, but I'm also going to Russia and I'm pretending like, hey, Russia, I mean, I'm sorry about this. I don't like doing this. But, like, I don't have any options because I kind of need Ching to attack Toku. Otherwise, he's going to attack Ming. And I'm, like, pretty convincing with Russia, and he buys it, right? Because the other thing I'm saying is, like, hey, as soon as Ching isn't useful to me, I want to work with you. You know, I think a Ming-Russia alliance is a lot better than a Ming-Ching alliance. I'm just telling him everything he wants to hear, but not actually ever making any friendly moves to him.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm going to Ching, and I'm like, hey, I mean, this is good. We get Karakoram. Russia ends up retreating this army to 2 meds, I think. I get Russia to go to 2 meds, which is the upside of pressing with them friendly.
That's probably where I would go.
Which is,
I mean,
Gobi you can go to, but
Depends on how many builds you have, I think, right?
Yeah, that's true. If you're both starved, then...
But my message to Ching is like, this is good, we get the center, but the downside of all these armies over here is that, we might, next year, we might have to concede Karakoram back to Russia if they build 2 armies in here. And that way, I'm still able to play both of these powers against each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I like it.
All
We're
right.
having a good time. The other thing I do is I pocket Xining. for shits and giggles, and
Yep.
I
Standard stuff.
tap Bummo just in case they get any ideas like this, and I tap Hainan because I can. There's not really any other reason.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people do this and then do like a Kunming bounce, which I think is terrible.
No, Kunming bounce, it
this
doesn't. The problem with the Kunming bounce is it doesn't fix any of your problems, right?
Yeah.
If you're getting stabbed,
if you're
then
being
then
attacked,
it's dead. You're dead. Like.
Yeah. Let's look at what's going on in India because it's silly.
Would you look at that? Portugal actually decided they don't want to work with Mughals after all. It's almost like if this was your intention, you could have bounced them out of Hyderabad into spring.
Yeah, I mean, if you bounce them out of Hyderabad in the spring, then they just support themselves into Hyderabad in the fall, right?
Yeah, but then England isn't going to have this lingering mistrust of your intentions for the rest of the game. That's the thing.
That's true.
You got to think about like, hey, if I try
but
to
at this point, you've already bounced them in North Atlantic, so your relationship isn't great.
Hey, but on the bright side, you can go to England. You can be like, hey, England, I had your best in mind. You see, France had told me he was going to attack you, and like, I don't know if you would have believed me, so I just helped you the best I could by making sure your fleet stayed right where it was needed in Bermuda. And they're not going to buy that, but you can sell it to them. You can tell them like, hey, yeah, I totally am your friend.
Yeah.
By the way, like,
right.
No.
Yeah.
This is so sad.
It's I mean, Nascapi bounces St. Anthony. England didn't do the hero call, tap Nascapi, which would have been really funny if nothing else. Yeah.
I just can't believe that as France, you stab England in the first year and you lose Port Royal to them.
Yeah, I get that, but
he went
like +6.
I don't care. You have nothing. You have nothing.
Yeah, I know.
It's
all right. Let's go down and look at standard stuff elsewhere.
Hey, look, it's the Mediterranean.
Nothing terribly crazy. Oh yeah, this chaos.
So this was me leaking that, like, I didn't go out and directly say it, but I like repeatedly hinted that I was going to Florence, because France had requested it. But I realized like I'm not actually gaining any stuff from Austria, and I think it was agreed that I could build. Like I realized, hey, if I put Austrian army in Rome, I have a really good excuse to build Venice, and then I'll just support Venice into Rome. It's going to be
Naples,
like with
Naples.
Sorry, Naples. Yeah,
getting ahead of ourselves.
Support Naples into Rome, and like Austria's going to have a really hard time defending it. And the build just slows down France and Ottomans. So I'm fine with them getting the build. And so I leak where I'm going here. And then France doesn't even bounce Freiburg anyways.
Yep. We can see I end up not tapping Ghent. I considered it with the army and Reims, but after seeing
if France
spring,
goes there, if France goes there, they're just asking to be hit over the head with a shovel.
Yeah, like it's just
which they might get anyways, but you never want to induce it,
Yeah.
Also, I do love Sweden being like, I'm going to get Kiel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
makes a big noise about it. Does not go for Kiel.
Awful.
Yeah. Otherwise, standard stuff. I was telling Cass I wanted to support. I think I either wanted support into Kiel or wanted to support her into Kiel. I don't remember, but I really wanted to work with Cass. I really thought it would be good for us to work together, but that did not happen because we can go look at South America.
Oh, I love South America.
So Caracas gets forced, and she does not retreat to a friendly place. Standard stuff elsewhere. I'm just taking Amazonia and oh yeah, I grabbed Colina because I know that France isn't going to take it, and I'm pocketing Belém.
Every time you do
sure.
It's yeah, sure.
But yeah, she retreats to Gulf of Paria.
Awful.
For some reason,
you cannot go that retreat as Poland. You have to go Caribbean Sea, in my opinion.
Also,
why?
France is in Indikaru.
Caribbean Sea is just a better retreat because you have more options, right? If you're in the Gulf of Paria, your options are Barbados or Caracas or Palermo. And
Yeah,
you
and
know, it's like whatever. If you're in Caribbean Sea, you have more options. So you're going to build a fleet in New Courland anyways, right? That's a given. But what you can do, especially as you see all this chaos between EFN unfolding, if you have a fleet in Caribbean Sea, you have a lot of leverage. Like you
yeah,
could negotiate yourself into Mona Passage or Windward Passage, and then see what you can manage there. You can jump into Aves Ridge if you want to go and just secure
you can also
lockdown
just like
Barbados.
tap Caracas, like build a fleet in New Courland and tap Caracas, and then if you're in Barbados and like they try and dot New Courland, then you're dot neutral and you can either force New Courland if like England is on side and they go to like Bay of Panama or something, they can tap Cartagena and cut it. Like there are options here.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
so
you can just
I think
tap New Courland.
I was very apologetic at this point. Like I was like, hey, the plan was to just kill you with France. France kept assuring me that this would happen. If they had told me they were not going Barbados, I 100% would have gone Pamerbo here, and really just tried to throw them under the bus, which is great when you can do that while telling the truth, because it's just more believable.
Yeah,
Often.
it is
So
a little bit silly though. Like I lost a lot of respect for Cass after 2 years of this game.
I think the Gulf of Paria retreat is defensible compared to Caribbean Sea. I think it gives you a lot of influence, but it's not a base that you're able to hold dots.
Well, she also dotted Permerbo and like played.
Well, yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We'll talk about it at that point.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right, South America.
Otherwise,
very peaceful.
Standard stuff. The South American regionals managed not to murder each other in the very first year of the game,
which is sad. Like Guarani should instantly go to kill Mapuche, and Aymara should join them.
Yeah,
that's what I was pitching. But
I'm on your side because as Aymara, that's what I pitched to a Guarani one time, and when I played Spain, that's also what I pitched to Aymara.
I'm gonna be honest. You're the reason I pitched that to them. So like, I watched your video about it and was like, this is great for you and great for me.
Yes, because you just get a very natural alliance here. But if Aymara doesn't see that, doesn't want that, then it's not going to happen, unfortunately. But what it does let you know is it lets you know that Aymara is hostile to you and wants your guts dead.
Even if you do this, so you're suggesting like Buenos Aires taps Tucson. Yeah. Also, like this is really weird because like after all this, if
Fiend didn't do it in the spring. Like Fiend's moves were bad for it.
Also, like after all this, you're in a situation where Mapuche can still support Tucson into Buenos Aires here. If like ALS is like, oh, Fiend is fighting me, he can just give up like he can give up like one dot and guarantee Buenos Aires if he wants.
I mean, I guess you can, but you still lose because what happens is the retreat is out here. There's a fleet that gets built here, and you just get killed this way.
Maybe, but like, there's a fleet built in Tucson.
I think a lot of different things would have needed to happen in spring to make it happen. From this position, I don't think it's like
you have to have the ability to reasonable. Take Larpe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
I don't know. But boring stuff in South America.
Africa, very similar.
Yeah.
It's this Azande take.
Except England gets bounced out of a dot. This is Cass being a terrorist. There's no reason to do this as Poland. Like I think
it's pure terrorism.
Like I think England dying only benefits your
this is
all your neighbors and all
this is a bad bounce because you want this army here to try to direct around basically.
Yeah.
I mean it is slightly a threat to you, but given what just happened in India and how Portugal's already betrayed England's trust, I think you're going to have a much easier time working with England in Africa here than you would normally.
I think the bounce in Niani is sometimes defensible, although I don't love it. But like, also we see the army in St. Louis go to Ndakaru, and we see the army in Tashit go to Ulada. This is why you should not claim Ndakaru on either of Poland or France, because Portugal gets Ulada, and it's bad for
Idjo. Yeah.
And they get this
Yeah,
very
I
solid
think I'm
line
very-
to push down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very much in support of Poland and France agreeing to decide on Ndakaru year 2 and going for Dejen and Ulata respectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now
I
Portugal's
just
very
played Poland
powerful.
in Blitz. I just played Poland in Blitz and had a very fun time with. I went to Gen. I don't think I bounced anyone year 1 with Gen, but year 2 I built a fleet in Jacob Fort because I had Fiend as my neighbor, and like I'd asked him to not build a fleet in Cabo Verde, and he said yes, and I was like, "You're lying to me," because it's Fiend. And I just bounced him in Cabo Verde in spring, and then walked into Ndakaru, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is fine." And that felt really good. And I recommend people do that on Poland because that feels quite powerful. Yeah, otherwise nothing crazy.
Cape Koe.
Yeah, Cape Koe.
I know words. Anyways.
Yep. I think I cleanly doubled here, which is something that like only the Dutch can do as a colonial and not like absolutely piss off everyone in the world.
I mean, Spain can do it. You just have to go and immediately death war Portugal.
Absolutely not piss off anyone in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I'm still the only person who's ever doubled on Portugal. But that involved pissing off everyone.
I think you're not the only one. It's just that if
Somebody
you
else
double on
has
Portugal.
done it since.
What? Yeah, I think so.
I was the first one in World Conquest. Was the first.
Yeah,
Portugal
I think it
double.
was the first one. I don't remember. I think someone else. It's not that uncommon because Portugal can get a pretty clean plus 15 if maybe not on this patch with Muscat, but you can get.
They literally just need Nantes.
You need to get Brotherhood or Bermuda, and you need to dot Nantes.
So,
yeah.
What Portugal should have done here then is go to England and be like, hey, if you let France into English Channel.
Yeah, but the problem is Portugal in Nantes is terrible.
Oh yeah, you get kicked right back out, and then France is like, and like,
you
what's
get
your follow-up
kicked
to
right
this?
back out, and you've just taken away France's capacity to build fleets against your primary competitor in NAO, which like Portugal and England don't have to fight, but that doesn't mean that Portugal wants England to have a free NAO because they will just kill you.
Nah, they'd never. Penwood would never stab. It's not what he is.
He's not really has the opportunity in this game.
My Penwood
Exactly.
never. Didn't he end the game in his voice? He was definitely in there at one point.
No, he was. I think I ended it with Absorbs.
Yeah, I think you did. I think someone supported you. Yeah, I remember you had Azores. All right. Yeah. Any other moves that are important?
I mean, France's everything goes super well against England.
Yeah. So France gets Bahamas.
As good as like you can expect.
Guadalupe.
Yeah.
And worth nothing. You lost Port Royal.
Yeah. Other than Port Royal.
You cannot. I gotta stop talking about it, but I can't believe this.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're probably just supposed to bounce Port Royal. Like, imagine if he bounces Port Royal, too. Like, imagine if that happens. Like,
England literally has nothing. Nothing at all.
You've got an army in Maine. Great. Port Royal's open for a build. Bermuda's closed. And, like, yeah.
You're just
it's
dead.
Much, much better. But
yeah, I just can't. I cannot believe this setup.
Yeah. Otherwise, pretty standard stuff. I don't think there was any other major drama.
Oh well, there was also. Let's see. Oh no, this was all arranged. Yep. Okay. Good.
Yeah, I don't think there was drama in that area yet.
Not yet. Anyways, builds. So I'll start with my builds because they're pretty simple. I want 2 fleets to kill Tokugawa. Tokugawa disbands and rebuilds the army as a fleet in Kyoto. I build 2 armies inland. My agreement with Russia is they would retreat not to Gobi, and that I wouldn't build an army in Lanzhou, which means I am much less capable of helping Qing fight them, which is good for me because it means that I can play friendly with Russia while still going to Qing and being like, hey, sorry I couldn't help you more, but I don't have the armies here for it.
Yeah, and then meanwhile Qing builds 2 fleets and
fleets,
an
1
army in
army.
Kikihar, does not build Hohat. This is just fantastic for both of you,
Oh yeah, I'm
but
having a
more so
great
for
time.
you.
I'm having a
Mostly
great
for
time.
you, because all those Russian armies are pointed straight at Ching.
Yeah.
And Russia's never going to alienate me in this position. They're always going to be trying to pull me into stabbing Ching. Always.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Russia has 4 armies and Penlin has 2. Like,
It's not
I
Penman.
don't think there's a
That's
world
Benny.
like.
That's Benny.
Sorry, Benny, not Penlin. Yeah, Penlin's England. Same sort of color. But like, I don't think there's a world where you can afford to do double fleet here, even though like it's needed for you to get a higher percentage of the profits from Toku. Like, there's just too many Russian armies, and you've already pissed them off. Like, I really don't like them accepting the support into Karakorum.
I believe
Obviously, you
me,
did
this was
brilliantly in
this was
organizing
a great idea from Ching. I had no ulterior motives in encouraging them into this position, where they would be entirely dependent on me, but I would not be able to fully help them get more centers.
Yep.
It was a little bit mean. This was a little bit mean. But on the bright side, Tokugawa is definitely dead. I mean, they are so dead. I think
you say that, but they're going to be on like 4 dots for quite a while.
Yeah, but
they're treading water for a little while.
But the position is unrecoverable. There's just nothing you can do. It is. You have 4 fleets, and the amount of fleets arrayed against you.
You and Ching are just going to be taking the neutral fleets or the neutral dots
5,
for
6,
a turn.
7, 8, 9 fleets against your 4. Good luck.
Don't forget the fleet in Philippine Sea.
I circled it. That's part of the 9. See, 3.
Yeah, I mean, Koryaks and Carracks.
Oh wait, 10. Sorry, I miscounted. Right?
Yeah, I think you missed the
10. Sorry, yeah, 10 before.
Inuits get involved this next year with Carrack because they want to lead. Yeah.
I'm sure that
nothing
bad will happen to Toku. All right, we'll go over both of your builds at the same time because it's worldwide. I'm guessing this army build in Iberia is arranged. It's just pretty good to have for peace purposes.
Yeah.
Yep.
No build in Valencia, no build in Tunis. You got permission to build that fleet in Naples.
Yep. Partially, I think, because of the Rome army.
Yep. Otherwise, nothing crazy.
Fleet Canaries is a bit out there.
And Fleet Canaries and Army Arguin was agreed. I don't know how. Why?
Why did he agree to that? Why did he agree to Fleet?
I don't know.
You cannot agree to that as Portugal in this position.
I mean, like, I my Fleet Canaries is like, it's very good for Spain to get to NAO.
Yeah, you can agree to Fleet Canaries, but not with a fleet in Cadiz too. Like,
and no
that's
fleet
aggressive.
Valencia. I guess I'm gonna assume that Tefra did not have all of the details of your extremely nice relationship with the Ottomans at this point.
I don't think so.
I'm also going to.
I only had 1 wave, right?
Tefra didn't press very much.
Yeah,
probably.
If you only have 1 wave, I would think as Portugal, you would demand the fleet not be in Cadiz if you have the this knowledge.
Yeah,
it's like.
Yeah, I don't know if they asked me. I think I told them I was waving Iberia. I might have also had a wave in America.
Let's see.
Yeah, Bogota. I think I asked for the Bogota wave. Yeah.
Like, I think in this position, like, building an army in Bogota doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
And I don't need more fleets going west.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the West Coast Mexico fleet and the East Coast Setio. Yeah, nothing terribly crazy. For my builds, I put a fleet in Permurbo because I was like, what the fuck? There's a fleet in Gulf of Paria. I need a fleet in Permurbo here to like counteract that. And then I was like, I kind of just want to go after Cayenne though. I don't know. I thought it was fine, but I don't know if there's anything I could have said or done that would have changed how the thing went with Permurbo. Because
we'll get to it, but I think in the retreats phase, I don't know how much press you did with Cass, but I think in the retreats phase, you really had to press for Caribbean Sea. It's more flexible in a better
I was, and I pressed her a lot. She just
I think I think Poland just wanted the was very focused, and this was like back to original press before year one. Like cared a lot about the set of dots of Barbados, Caracas, New Courland, and the fact that Gulf of Paria interacted with all of them. Like they they viewed Gulf of Paria as key to the position.
That's fine, but then why are you telling me?
Yeah, there's not a reason for her to be incentivizing a build in Parmerbro of a fleet. That, in my opinion,
Yeah, I mean, I told her if you go to Gulf of Paria, I'm gonna build a fleet, and she went to Gulf of Paria, and I built a fleet. Like, I don't know.
Yep.
So it goes. Anyways, down the coast we go. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 armies from Congo, and I built an army in Ardra and a fleet in Fernando Po. They're picking up Mandara here. I'm getting Sao Tome. This is a Congo with 1 fleet. I'm super happy about this. I feel very safe from the risk of an attack there. That's all nice.
Yes.
Army in Delagoa. I didn't really want that to happen. I asked for it not to happen, but
there's nothing you can say that will convince them to not.
Yeah, it's never not going to happen. Like that, I am once again asking for Cape Coa and Delagoa to be disconnected, but that's
skill
kind
issue.
Skill issue. Fleets in Indo. That's not terribly shocking. East Coast, neck on sea. I think that's generally correct. Fleet to Voy, not thrilled to see that, but I do think it's generally correct. Fleet in Kudak is I don't think it ended up doing anything particularly dramatic, but yeah. The Mughal Andaman is interesting. Because at this point I'm thinking about Mughal as I would like them on side versus IU, but I really want Andaman at some point, and I don't really I'm gonna have to fight them for it. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not in love with that, but I'll deal with it. Otherwise, fairly standard stuff. I don't think anyone built crazy wild builds.
Yeah, seems about right. My only issue with builds here is that Mughals, and this is retrospect, not in real time, but Mughals built Sasaram instead of Delhi. At the time, I was like, this is kind of a wash, right? Because, Sasaram is actually slightly more effective in going south because Gondwana is better to be in than Bangladesh and then Khandesh. But, it's like a little thing that's kind of a hint of some future actions that we're going to see in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the spring, we'll start over here first with me because interesting things happen.
Oh, would you look at that?
Mughal stabbed me.
They sure do.
This is a pretty pointless stab in my opinion because they're getting less out of it than they would have if they had worked with me. But
yeah. So, speaking of bad stabs, let's go through the main position first.
Yeah, so everything else goes to plan. There's some slight progress against Tokugawa. This is inevitable. I'm getting a fleet into Beijing Sea with agreement from Qing, so I can get Hanyang. I get my attack off into Portugal. So my entire plan
tries to support
me into
Kurshu into Kyushu. In retrospect, in fall, I probably should have been like, all right, now it's time, and supported Kurshu into Kyushu at that point. But I was pretty happy with the.
I don't think you do. It just you're never going to gain too much out of it, especially with
the thing is, if I do that, I just buy so much time for the Ryukyu colony to actually do stuff. The other thing I could have done is just cored. Honestly, that's not terrible. Just coring Ryukyu there, because those 2 dots are kind of dead on arrival, and Formosa's never going to build. But if you have both of them cored, it's not that hard to get one open, and once you have 3 fleets there, you can actually start getting that colony somewhere.
Yes. So I had a plan for moves in my south to digress. The entire idea was I wanted Mughals to make moves. Let me go back to here, and I'm gonna remember this. I wanted Mughals to do kind of like this, where they would line everything right up. I forget. Was Bamo gonna move?
Bama probably doesn't move. Bama probably supports Kolkata to
Well, no, because I did
Morocco in
this.
case.
So the whole thing was I wanted to run it like this. Oh yeah, like this, right? And then in fall we can take Ava like so. Sassuram covers Bamo, and so there's no Yongchang retreat. And then there's also into Pegu. It's just a very good attack on Ayu. The
Yeah.
upside of all these moves is that I would be able to commit a minimal amount to the effort for the moment. Later on, to attack Ayutthaya, later on I'm going to have to force Lan Na and then Lan Sang and then Dai Viet, right?
But for now,
But-
you can just run down Macau.
Yeah, but for the moment, what I can do is I can just move like this. I can let Mughals handle all the heavy lifting, and I can just dunk everything into Macau. I can just, everything moves down towards it. And in conjunction with this, I am talking to Tefra on Portugal, and I'm gently encouraging him. Hey, I mean, if you go towards Formosa, I hear that you're going to be able to get that dot right there. I think that I was aware that you guys had arranged a bounce in Luzon Strait, which happened.
I don't think
here.
we did. I
Did
don't
you not
think
arrange
we
that?
did.
Or maybe I don't know if you arranged that or not. I remember
I
being
don't think we arranged.
I
I'm
remember
pretty confident that this, like, if we'll get to this as we go on to the moves, but I'm pretty sure I just was like, well, I don't really want to send Formosa north. I'm never holding that unit. I mean, Fokian seems a little bit aggressive.
I
so
remember
guess it's moving to Luzon.
I remember being aware that both of you were going to Luzon Strait, which worked fine enough for me because it meant I could get all my centers. I can get all my stuff, and I like stuff. Stuff is cool.
I think, yeah, there might have been a chance I was aware of both of you and had done that intentionally.
No, I think you were as well, Van. Because I think we talked about it, didn't we? We talked about it in press.
I mean, I think I also mentioned to you, like, it might bounce Portugal, and I'm fine with that. Like, I think part of my intention with that was, like, if Portugal is stabbing either you or me, like, I'm fine bouncing them. I don't really care.
But yes, it was very funny.
Yep.
If Mughals had not stabbed me here, then I would have gotten all my desserts, and I would have had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Except Ayu doing this. Ayu doing this is sure thing, buddy.
Yeah.
Now from here, I started doing a lot of press with Mughals because clearly I didn't sell them on my vision hard enough earlier in the game. As it turns out, Mughals' primary concern with the division of dots I'd set out was that he didn't think he'd have enough, because he thought that not having Rinpungpa for himself was a deal breaker. That's literally the only concession I had to make on that original line that I drew in this negotiation, was to give him Rinpungpa, to get him to flip sides. I mean, I had to do a lot of press, right? There were a lot of words that I spoke. But the only meaningful concession was a singular dot, which is just so short-sighted to me and stupid. Mughals should not... If Mughals wants Rinpungpa, Mughals should want to kill Ming, because this borders 3 Ming centers.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Mughal, if I'm Mughals here, I'm taking Rinpungpa, and I'm also like walking into Chengdu and like trying for Jining.
Yeah, you're not gonna get any of it, but
Yeah, I mean, it's worth a try, right?
Tactics. The tactics are such that I can prevent Mughals from gaining more than. I mean, I guess they get 2 dots here if they want. The problem is that, what did you promise to Ayutthaya? Oh, Kunming, you're not going to keep that. So luckily, on top of selling him on, my whole vision of us being partners the whole game, I also am able to sell him on Ayutthaya being an enormous threat, which is, I think it's my biggest trump card over my, vision of alliances. Is
and I mean, it's like...
You have, as Mughals, you have to be very aware that Ayutthaya can just kill you. Like, the moment Ming is
and I mean, he bounced Pegu in Andaman.
I feel like that was arranged.
It was probably, but that's still some awareness of the risk. So it's not blind.
But I feel like this is, it's the wrong move as Mughals because of how strong Ayutthaya was on this map.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And I let him know. I agreed.
Yeah. Let's look at the rest of the world. So Portugal's up to some shit. He's moving to Coral Sea and has threatened to put 2 on Flores. And if we go a little bit elsewhere, particularly South America, I believe was his phase.
Ooh.
Yep. He's running a bunch of stuff north, and that doesn't look super friendly.
The
Now
problem
let's
is
scroll back down to South Africa.
tapping, trying to get French support.
Well, failing to get French support because France is stabbing him. Now let's roll up north.
Oh boy.
It's going around the world.
Up.
Let's look at West Africa. That doesn't look fun.
Yeah, this was a board wide, all hitting,
Basically
SFN. So Spain,
everyone
France,
except for me.
Dutch.
I mean, I didn't commit against Portugal, but everyone except for me, particularly SF, hit Portugal hard, and like all of his regional neighbors hit him hard. And I think I convinced England also to go after him. And while all this was happening, he thought he was coalitioning me. And that did not happen.
I might have helped sell him on that idea.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
Not.
I'm aware. But so he went in thinking he had a bunch of people on side, and he super did not. So I was basically like, what the fuck? Go away. And he fully backed off.
I cannot for the life of me imagine why.
Yeah. Yeah, so that didn't go super great for him. Congo went to SAO. I was not happy about this. Like, that kind of annoyed me. I didn't really want Congo in SAO. I know why SAO did it.
You generally should not want him in SAO, but this particular moment is a good time for him to be there.
Yeah. So at SAO, I was trading St. Helena for Hausa, which is why he moved to Sarah. I'm fine with that trade. I'm all right with it. I'm just going after Ouagadougou here, which I think I told England about. But I wasn't sure whether I wanted to, like... I didn't really want to commit against either of England or France here, but I think I told England, like, the price of my help here is I want the Africa colony. And, yeah, I wasn't thrilled about Ezio going to St. Helena, but whatever. I think where I went from here was...
we'll see where
because I got stabbed by Portugal, I didn't really want to commit more sad to go take St. Helena this turn. But like I was like not thrilled about the fleet going there, but on the other hand, he built 2 armies, so like what do I care? I know it was meant as like a tacit threat of like, if you fuck with me, I'm in SAO, you have a bunch of dots neighboring SAO, I can always just go dot you, particularly Morisad, but whatever.
But now Morisad looks lost anyways, so your threat means nothing to me.
The kind of tempo of the early game and mid game between me and Congo was I would like do something and be like, hey, can you do this? And we would come to a deal, and then he would just do something really annoying. And I'd be like, why did you do that? I'm kind of worried about what your moves, and I'm worried about what you're doing. And I'm worried about your press. And that was the back and forth up until like a year before I stabbed him. I checked his press, and he seemed to like lock in this alliance. And like at the exact time he locked in the alliance, I was like, all right, it's time to stab this guy. So we'll get there. But
so it goes.
Yeah.
Right. Looks like England's having a bad time.
I think what happened this turn. Yes. But regarding Portugal, I think what happened this turn is Portugal talked to a lot of people about a Dutch coalition, and the only person that they convinced was Poland.
Yeah. Who dotted me? I didn't know that. Was that why Poland dotted me?
I think so.
I think that would have happened anyways. I'll be honest. Like just
yeah,
and
like,
that's
lost a lot of respect
and that's
for
not. No, that. What do you mean you lost respect for her? Look, she got away with it.
It's sound tactically. She gets Permerbo and she keeps it for at least a year. The problem with it is that, like, on the map, who is she fighting? She's fighting Ottomans. She's locked into a death war with Ottomans, right? Like, that's not pretty. She's fighting over Yassi. Yassi? I don't know. I'm like one of the only people who's close enough to really be of great help in West Africa, which is another colony that she's got. And like I'm moving to Busa.
But you're talking about both of these things, but I'm like, I guess I'm a little further away in West Africa, but like she's doing this move to get me to try to stab Ottomans, right?
Yeah, you're
Like
trying to get me.
she
You're
can
trying
either
to
go
get.
anti-you or anti-me.
I get that, but you skipped Bogota and Valencia. Like, you could not be signaling more pro-Dutch, pro-Ottomans with your builds.
You can always stab Ottomans from a position like this with Spain. That's the thing. You can always do it.
You can. But it's not great. So,
No, I think I would have had a great stab if I wanted to. Like I just bounce Ionian and send Florence. Like it requires me to like
I mean,
work with Austria.
I agree,
But
but it's just like the Polish position. The problem is you're not doing anything to fortify your Polish position. Like, imagine if you just dot Caracas here as Poland. What are they going to do? They've moved out of Caracas.
But as Poland, you never expect that to be open. That's not you expect every single time for it to be covered.
I don't know. I think we were able to patch over things, and I think there was maybe some sort of agreement that they would take Caracas the following turn. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly. I think they were claiming that Gulf of Paria was gonna cover New Courland, and hadn't told me that it was dotting Pamerbo. But the agreement was they were not taking Caracas, and that I was gonna stab Ottomans later on. And spoiler, no, I did not. But but I was at least fully moving off the line.
And the other thing is like you're committing super hard to this, and like if we go over and look at Europe, I have a fleet in Bremen. Like that, like I'm offering you support into a bunch of Swedish dots. Sweden's built Fleet Stockholm.
Sweden's allied to Poland here. Sweden's allied to Poland here.
I get that they allied here. I just think it's a bad alliance. Sweden has, like, you've built no fleets. And, like, you're going to attack Russia? Why?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a good angle on Russia. They're walking out of Kharkov, like...
Moscow's just free.
It does end up working. Like,
it's guaranteed Moscow.
We'll talk about what happens in fall. I have some funny things to share there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I don't know. Like, she makes her decisions work. I just think they were bad decisions. Like, I think the macro is bad.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's not much you can really do about the Permurbo dot for the moment. And by the time you can, I mean, she already benefited from it.
Yeah.
Of course, you will not like the decision to take a center of your own.
No, I know, but like, also, I don't like this as like I played Poland like in Blitz, and like Dutch were my strongest ally in that game, and it was great. Like,
I also think you're being greedy going to Broko Pondo here, right? Like, I think you should be getting English support into Cayenne, and you don't even need to go.
That's probably true. That is probably true.
I agree as well. Yeah, I think here you definitely want England to be supporting you. There's no reason for Guyana Current to do anything else unless they're moving.
I think the reason I didn't want that is because I didn't want to give Cayenne a retreat into Sierra Rise.
I mean, that's fine, but like you still get Belém and Fall.
How do you prevent that here? They're still giving that. Yeah, I don't think you necessarily need the English support in spring.
Sure, fair enough. Okay.
Like you offer them support into Guadalupe in return.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd agreed.
Because the reason they wouldn't is if this.
I think I'd agreed to take Guadalupe with both France and England. Is the reason I didn't like offer them that support.
Well, even still, I mean.
Yeah, which like is really rough because like the France was so happy they had gotten the second corps in the Caribbean, but like they're selling it off immediately because their position is rough.
Yeah. All right.
England
builds the army in Bermuda to reinforce.
It's the right move. I mean, look, England suddenly has a position again in North America.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what happened to the Caribbean here is I got most favorable builds possible for England, and then just attacked them full force anyways.
Yeah, I was trying to disencourage this. I wanted you to attack France here. I was like waffling whether to.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. The attack, Spain attacking France only works here if France is not going Bahamas Channel. If France is going Antilles Current, then you do it because you land Bahamas Channel and Florida Current take Bahamas, and
I mean,
then as Spain you get like this line, and this just
or
you're just
or you
invited
get
in.
Barracoa to support you to Bahamas Channel. Like,
Yeah, no, England's not.
Or-
England
but,
wants
like-
Windward Passage covered 100% every time.
yeah, I know that they can
I mean,
cap
like-
Windward Passage, but like the difference between them being in Windward Passage here and Spain being in Bahamas Channel here, if they're moving out of Havana, is not that large. Or you get like, I don't know. There are other options.
Well, the thing is that England is also, if you're doing this, England is going to demand this move as well to Cartagena to Caribbean Sea, which they fully
that's
within their
fair.
rights, obviously.
That's fair.
So
I mean,
that's why
I- like,
working
I
against
think-
France only works if France agrees not to go Bahamas Channel.
Yeah, okay, I see
I mean,
that.
I think it's also just like, is my read of the Spain position here is I just want to take the dots and roll east.
Yeah.
And like
And roll
leaving
France,
Belize, or like, yeah, like I just take the British dots and then take the French dots. And like hitting England in, like I have Cherokee guaranteed, like likely pressure, like England's southern colony here is just like mine for the taking.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Fair enough. Basil does a little bit of terrorism. Mr.
Yeah,
Sonora
but, like,
does not move to give Cortez.
This is weird.
I don't really understand that, honestly. Like, why are you moving to Sonora and not backing it up with Cia Cortez?
We're not going to question this move. We're not going to talk about that. It makes no sense.
It was Basil was just worried I was going to go there. At least that was her excuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the terrorism did not happen just yet.
We will see if terrorism happens.
I think it was happening later.
Other
in terms of NA stuff, I am encouraging both ATHA and Inuit to go anti-Ute, and that's seeming to
that pans out.
That works.
That pans out. That happens here.
I am a little bit frustrated with what happens with the NA colony, which is that, like, it's just so cramped, and this is exactly what I wanted to avoid. I like did not.
You missed your guesses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't really trying to get like. I wasn't really trying. Like, I was fine. I think I had arranged to blow up Caen with France, but I really did want to get into Anita because I just wanted the army. Like, the army in that position is extremely versatile.
If
I'm
want,
in Philly,
so
Amsterdam,
yeah,
like, I can't really do anything.
If you want the army in Oneida, you are not working with France, so you should not like make.
I know, but like, I pitched him on supporting me into Anita, and he just didn't. And I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Well,
he's of course he didn't.
Very bad for him.
Of course he didn't. What? He's never gonna put you there. The moment you suggest that is the moment he knows you're stabbing.
No,
I'm not
gonna
lie.
I think I just told him I was gonna top Anita.
The fact that he still
Anyways.
didn't stab you on that is hilarious because he had absolute ground. If it was just an arranged
I think I also told him that I was gonna trade away the colony, so I was like kind of fine with this. But
I still
didn't want to trade it away.
Dutch army in Oneida is not friendly to France.
I might be misremembering things. I might have just told him I was going to tap it to.
I would be
shooting
amazed
there.
if Ambrosius heard you wanted to go to Oneida and did.
Yeah, I might have just told him I was going to tap it. I think he was supposed to support me into Caen, maybe, and instead puts the fleet in Caen, which, like, a French fleet being on Delaware Bay is just like, all right. This is like, you're not even trying to kill England at this point. You're just hedging about like getting ready to kill the Philadelphia, New Amsterdam colony. Like, this is like, I don't know. The Ambrosius's attack here was very effective in year 1 and incredibly half-assed in year 2. And Penguin absolutely recovered a ton of ground because of it.
Yeah, this is the downside of having nothing in Port Royal, is England can do this.
Yeah. And then, of course, Inuit and ATHA both stab France.
Oh yeah, 100%. Every time.
Yeah.
What gets me here
is like.
What gets me here is ATHA Pascal going to AU instead of
dead.
like.
Yeah, this could have been done better, but like Menominee and Fort Detroit, yeah, it's messy.
Ouchie. Yes. Let's see. Other relevant stuff. Oh yeah, Salt gets like murdered here by Ottomans.
I stabbed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Salt dead. This is so the thing is that we didn't cover. Let's cover our builds a little bit closer. I forgot about this. Salt built a fleet in Tabriz.
There's a fleet in Tabriz and there's a fleet in Trebizond, so it's like this feels safe, but
it's not.
Yeah, that fleet is going to go after Ochkev.
Yes, because Ottomans are at war with Poland, and Russia has no option but to accept Ottoman reasoning for the fleet build.
Yeah.
Also, the fleet being in Tabriz is bad. The fleet should be in Tehran, in my opinion.
I actually don't agree with that. As someone who's done the exact same thing on Safavids, if you know you're fighting Russia, Army Tehran is really good because you can run it.
Yes, but you need the army to be in Tabriz to keep the Ottomans off your back, just in case. Because
admittedly, when I did that, I had an army in Syanik, so
yeah, there you see. But you have to have the second army near Debrent because it prevents Ottomans from pulling this maneuver, where now you're just dead because Ottomans are crushing your position everywhere.
Yep.
So
that's fair.
Unfortunate circumstance, but Salt is not having a very good time. I think that's most of spring, honestly.
I stabbed Portugal for all of Iberia.
Oh,
we looked at it a second.
We looked at it, but we didn't like. Yeah,
they're just dead.
Yeah, Rabat goes this turn. There's a fleet in Canary Basin that's threatening Arguin. There's a fleet in Cadiz Bay that's threatening Lisbon. Like, this just looks grim.
Dead Portugal.
Yeah.
This is the result.
I mean, you don't actually get more than Rabat this turn. Like, you do get Arguin because, or someone gets Arguin, but
I get a 50-50 on Lisbon.
I mean,
there's no way to use that.
They just always hold, right?
If you're smart.
I don't think so. Spanish army in Merida, like, it's impossible to hold from there.
Yeah, but if I'm Spain, I'm walking to Galicia and Lisbon, and being like, I'll deal with this. Like, I'm walking to Galicia and Lisbon, and then next year I'm going to build an army in Madrid and support it into Merida.
What you've got to do as Portugal is you have to pull the fleets back through here, right? And then hopefully have a build in Azores, but you probably won't have a build in Azores, so sucks to suck. But yes, you have to be judicious with your movements. Also, what you need to do is organize a bounce with Rabat. Don't just hold it. You want to have something. You want to have one of the Spanish fleets tied down. Whether that's 100%. Whether it's a bounce in Tangier or a bounce in Anfa or something else, you got to have something to do with it. Because by holding it, you're just sitting duck for this kind of behavior from Spain.
Yeah.
But it's much easier for us to say it in hindsight than it is to go at the time and be like, you know what I should do? More tension with Spain.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tefra just needed to press more regarding the area.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Tefra just needed to press more.
You have to ask. You have to ask for things, because I definitely I would have done things for the I think it was just too. I was either able to just not talk about things and get away with them that way, or there was no pushback when I did try to do other things.
Other than that, I think that's most of the moves.
All right, time for fall. So I managed to convince the Mughals to do a nice little knife on Ayu, but I'm not completely certain that I have him convinced. So I covered Chengdu instead of covering Kunming and lose myself a center that way, which was damaging for my momentum. In hindsight, maybe I should have taken the gamble of Mughals trusting me, or me trusting Mughals, really. But at the time, I didn't feel like that was a safe bet to take, for some reason. At the same time, I organized this situation with Portugal. I just tell them my moves. I'm like, I'm gonna put 2 on Hainan and 1 on Macau. You can decide which one you want to keep. Which I think works out decently, right? Just tactically. It builds more trust between us, I think, which should allow me to work with him easier if I have to, given what might happen.
I mean, I think as Portugal, you're supposed to get out of that colony at this point.
100%. But if he decides he's not getting out of that colony, then
Yeah.
I better be ready to work with him.
Yeah. I think we had some miscommunication over Kuroshio.
I think so.
Like, if I'd known that you were like forcing it, I probably just would have cored Ryukyu for the reasons that I stated earlier. That would've been really nice.
I think I didn't tell you, and I don't remember exactly why. I think I had the idea that if you knew, because I think I didn't tell you about that or Ito, and like I think if you know about that, you 100% leak it, and I think it makes sense for you to leak it.
I'm also going to come out and say that I did. I think in this phase I did tell Tokugawa, hey, you should cover Ito with 2, which it's pretty obvious, right? But I'm doing all I can to try to get in his good graces for the eventuality.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's what I was misremembering. Inuit hits Ching instead of hitting.
Oh yeah, we missed that. Yeah, this ouchie.
Yeah. Which this is very predictable in my opinion. Like, there's a fleet in West Coast Carracks. Like, that's so anti-Shing. Amusingly, there's nothing to contest Sahelian. Like, he's just going after Ainu, which there's space for him to do. And it really doesn't matter because he's going to be able, Sea of Okhotsk, which is the tile that matters between Shing and Inuit, is a tile completely uncontested here. And after this phase, he's got he builds a fleet in Carracks and has 3 fleets on Sea of Okhotsk to Shing's 1.
Shing's game is just over here, basically.
Yeah, Shing's game is just over at this point.
This is decent for me, but not great, right? Because I want Inuit to just come kill Toku and then we stab Shing, where Inuit is crippling Shing immediately, which isn't really what I wanted. Problem here is now it gets messy. Shing's builds are going to be army.
Because Toku's not dying. All the fleets are Qing covering Pyongyang.
Well, no, we knew Toku wasn't dying this year. The plan was to kill him next year. The problem is that with Inuit acting like this, it's going to be harder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not going to die next year, even with me committing way harder than I think necessarily can be expected.
I mean, kind of, but he's also kind of beholden to me at this point. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Upsides of being Ming, I guess, one of the few of them. Now we can get to you guys because my moves are pretty simple. Let's look at Europe. What happens in Europe? Austria has a bad time.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Austria does okay. Never mind. Austria does okay.
France is this stabbed. I forgot about the Freiburg dot.
This was. Sorry, go ahead.
This was the Saxony move. This was the first of the 10 Austria stabs against me. So nice. a kind of a theme for this game is me going to Austria and being like, hey, do you want to fight any of your neighbors? And him being like, no, I'm good. And then he stabs me.
Well, him being like,
and
yes,
his stab goes nowhere. This was a recurring theme. So this this happened a lot. He had moved to Hesse and Saxony. I think he was going after Bremen, and then discovered that, nope, I've been dotted in Freiburg. I need to go deal with that. He still tries for Bremen. At this point, I had kind of a stilted relationship with Ink, but I was like, hey, can you throw me a support holds? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, thank you very much. I think we're friends because we need to fight England together. He's like, yeah, close enough. The moves that are in the rest of Europe, I got into Reims, which is I mean, Cologne is always going to die here with Luxembourg and Strasbourg on it. And I was like, I kind of just have to accept that. But given that, what's the best tactical positioning I have? It's definitely Reims. So I moved there. I didn't know that I was going to fight France, but I think I'd kind of anticipated it by his moves in North America.
Yes.
Things go kind of bad there. But I successfully predicted, given that I was stabbing him, that I needed to tap Philadelphia. And I was right. I didn't know that he was going to force New Amsterdam. That was really sad. Apparently, the two of them, France and England, had figured out a peace. Kind of, maybe. or
No,
just like
I don't know. I think that can't happen later on. I think like this is the turn, like the last phase, certainly in spring. I think a little bit before that, both you and France kept coming to me, wanting me to worried about the other one and wanting me to stab the other person.
Right.
And so I was kind of only holding the SFN together by refusing to stab either direction. And
Yeah.
this is the turn that it kind of collapsed. And the two of you like went into open conflict.
Yeah, but there was also some coordination between like you can see England is supporting France into Havana here. Like there was some fuckery. I think I correctly guessed that Cayenne was going to try and brace that Poland was going to brace Cayenne here. I think I also like whispered Poland to kind of put that thought into her head. I was 100% right. I think I arranged with England that I would get Guadeloupe here. I think the bouncing Guyana current was accidental, but yeah, I end up support holding England and Ouagadougou, and Penman supports me into Gen. So at this point, like I'm kind of committing more to the pro England because I was really, really annoyed with Portugal at this point, or with Poland at this point. Yeah, this is like another reason why it's kind of a bad thing to dot Dutch here, because you really want Dutch fighting England, and if they're not doing that, you're losing Gen to this. Yeah. Yeah, I told Portugal just back off, please, and they did. I didn't end up covering anything in South America because I'm like, you're being attacked by like every other player except for me. Do you want to just like walk away? And he's like, yeah, I do. I want to walk away. I'm like, cool, great, let's do that. I cover Flores. I dot Reunion, and I walk into INO. Amusingly, Port like hero calls my my moves out of Timor Sea and Indian Ocean, and gives me supports to moves that I did not communicate to him. Those were just pure guesses. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, the Reunion one is kind of predictable, but the correct INO slot is like pretty funny.
Maybe he was, logged into your account.
Yeah, I think I did also tell him I will support you to Mpondo, or you support me to Mpondo. You should move to Zulu. He did that. I was very grateful. Yeah, Congo stabs towards Barotse. Ajuran goes for Zanzibar. The whole thing is just a giant. France stabs him for Sakalava. Like the whole thing is a butcher's bill to pay. Yeah, so that was chaos. I think this is a phase that Danny subbed out because I don't think Danny ever got stabbed. And I think Azabel, I want to say, immediately subbed in. Was it Azabel or Jamie? Yeah. No, Jamie was Ajuran.
Jamie was Ajuran, yeah. Azabel was Abyssinia. No, the shadow guy was Abyssinia.
Yeah, the shadow guy,
and
right.
And then Azabel was...
and immediately gets stabbed by Congo and Ajuran, which really sucked. I wanted Abyssinia to have a functional game here, but... yeah, that was fine.
The fact that Ajuran isn't the one getting stabbed in this position is hilarious to me.
Yeah. I think the Ausa bounce is a map bug, by the way. I think that actually did go through.
Yeah, that should have gone through. I imagine it did. It's, just...
Yeah, the map is weird. Got hand adjudicated. But yeah, Congo is continuing to do the armies thing. I'm doing the fleets thing. I'm pretty happy about this. I don't get dotted by SAO. I don't end up tapping or grabbing St. Helena, but he also doesn't end up grabbing Hausa this turn. It's like, that's fine. And yeah,
the deal
I picked up Guadeloupe. I think I talked England into giving me permission to do that. I followed France into Mona Passage. Yeah, it was all right.
Congratulations.
Kind of gave on the Seneca colony or the Philadelphia colony because it was completely cooked. But
oof.
Yeah. and then you're fighting. You do get dotted by Ute
this-
Nueva.
This is the question. This is the answer of like this stab is so bad. I don't even think Basil's gonna go for it because if I cover Nueva Vizcaya and then can immediately build, because I'm gonna have builds this turn regardless of it. Build Nueva Vizcaya and Mexico City, like that's terrible. For them, like
it was in fact terrible.
So
The future is the
like,
future. The now is
I
the
don't know.
now.
Like, yeah, sure. Like, okay, Basil gets Nueva Vizcaya. I'm pretty sure this is the phase that Basil subs out immediately after.
I think so. Sammy takes over.
Sammy.
Was it Sammy this phase or was it someone else?
It was Sammy.
No, Sammy subs in right after this, and walks the stab back immediately, and other than keeping Nueva.
Yeah.
So the France and England are coordinating a little bit in the Caribbean. I still am getting like literally everything I want, other than like Bahamas Channel to to other part of Cuba. Barcoa is like would be like insane. They're like Ambrosius is aware enough that like I'm just gonna kill him if he does that, or just take that dot immediately after. I'm like, yeah, I go +3 in the Caribbean plus Cherokee. Oh no, I lose Havana, so it's still +2, but like it's nuts. I think this is a really good example of my alliance play. Both my builds this past year and my moves in South America are very pro Mapuche. I'm setting myself up as a target to Aymara, and with the agreement to that Mapuche will swing in the moment Aymara backs off. The Grug thinks I'm backing off a lot more than I am here.
Was Colon Ridge arranged, or was that just a good call on your part?
No, that was. I mean, it's spring, so I was like, if he gets into Galapagos, I can kick him out.
Is this spring?
No, this is fall.
This is fall.
You are
then it's just a good call.
You are psychotic.
I think it's fine.
Again, I'm getting builds.
Yeah,
like everything's safer if you're guaranteed going positive.
Yeah. Which you were, and I think I was as well. And I think we both come out of this year at +6.
Yeah, so the Mediterranean is also the other reason France is semi unhappy with me. If we look at
I remember you guys had a big argument over the builds in.
So Ambrosius insisted on the second fleet in the Med. Like it's only ever a knife in my back, and like at this point, like I'm at peace with the Ottomans. Like I'm just gonna get rid of those fleets. I like in the end, the decision to stab France instead of stabbing Dutch, because I was very much playing both sides, considering both sides. I think there are good aspects of both sides. But Ambrosius was entirely unwilling to not stop building fleets or get rid of those fleets, and insisted on holding the triangle of what he wanted was Marseille, Corse, Florence, and then just sitting with a fleet in Corse and a fleet in Ligurian, which like is just like
not happening.
That's being able to support yourself into like Tyrrhenian or like Gulf of Leon, like is just, or tap Strait of Bonifacio. Like I'm forced to sit a fleet in Strait of Bonifacio to just hold him back.
Yeah.
Is I don't know. It wasn't reasonable. It didn't feel like it was reasonable to me. I understood his point of view that like if he just gets rid of all of his fleets, I can stab for Marseille anytime I want. But like, and we'll see this, like you don't go further than Marseille with that.
I feel like the counter that like France has to that, like or rather the counter, like if Spain asks you to not build any fleets, you're right. They're like, all right, I'm just gonna park an army in Aquitaine then.
That's an even worse option.
And I think I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, like it's kind of like you can stab me for the Med, and I like you're gonna get Marseille, and you're never gonna get any further.
and like I would have offered him, like I asked continuously if there was stuff I could give him elsewhere on the map in return, and like he was just entirely so like I don't know. I think there was like some level of like the way each of us were evaluating the position was that he felt like he couldn't trust me unless he had Mediterranean fleets, and I didn't feel like I could trust him if he had Mediterranean fleets.
The problem is that
because
as France, you can only have the Mediterranean fleets if you have, or if Spain is already busy, or if Spain is doing bad. If Spain is already fighting the Ottomans, then you can have the second fleet, and Spain can't really question you too much about it because they don't want to fight it. But if Spain is if Spain is not openly fighting the Ottomans yet, you cannot put down the fleet and and risk Spain's ire because you can't fight them.
Yeah, and we see you guys successfully execute the Naples Tunis trade. I assume. Am I wrong in assuming that?
Nope, this is successful. This is agreed. Bird is fully focused on Austria. I've successfully pointed Austria and Bird at each other. I'm popping Ligurian. Even this still even isn't like full declaration of war. I'm just saying you against France.
Pop Ligurian. It's got to retreat into Savoy and Marseille here.
Yeah. He can. But it's also I'm telling him unless you pop it, I'm gonna take course. Currently, my offer to him is next spring I'll pop course and then I'll leave you Corsica, just with no fleets. And I feel like that's a reasonable deal. I leave him a pocket dot that I can take at any point. I like having that position for alliances because it incentivizes both people to stay working together if you do some of it in each direction.
Yeah. And you could see we did something similar. With the way that things shook out in with the colony in Formosa later in the game.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. That's kind of, I think, most of the moves on the map.
Let's see. Yeah, there's like some chaos in North America. Also noticed getting
the
hit over the head with a shovel.
Again dying. I think this is a good point to talk about it. Like at this point in the game, I think this is the best Spain position. It's not the best ever Spain position, but it's like literally every board dynamic that I would like to be going a certain way is going that way. So France and England are fighting. I'm seemingly set to roll over the Caribbean. Ottoman is death warring Poland, and I think they're working with Russia for the moment, but fighting Safavids is entirely fighting on all of their fronts. Like literally every one of my neighbors in every I had an amazing or mostly amazing stab off on Portugal, and Portugal doesn't even blame
Poland.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, literally everything seems to be going my way at this point. I think I think we'll see in the next couple years. I think I make a couple decisions that slow my tempo down way too much. But for this current position, I'm overjoyed with how everything's going.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I forgot to mention one small thing I did. I spent a lot of time between this spring and this fall talking to Poland. I say a little bit, a moderate amount of time talking to Poland. Reason I did that is because, like I said, I'm trying to play Russia and Qing off each other. And I want, I can't make any moves to show Russia that he can trust me because that would involve stabbing Qing, and I don't want to do that. But what I can do is press, and I can try to have some sort of impact on the press of the position. So I talked to Poland because I went to Poland, and I'm not sure how much impact my press had, but I talked to Poland about, getting off of Russia's back. I said, hey, Russia's a good partner. He's been pretty reasonable and pressed to me. He's obviously in a good position elsewhere, and I think that you should try to work with him and walk back the stab. And when Poland does it, I go in my press with Russia and I take credit. And I say, hey, I put in a lot of work with Poland here and they backed off you, so I'm glad to see that you guys are working good again. And hopefully that helps how much Russia thinks of me.
Yeah.
So I was so confused this turn because I feel like this feels like a failure of press to me, because previously it was Sweden and Poland versus Russia. There's no world where the flip should happen and Sweden should be fully aware of it to the point where they're double supporting holding their unit.
Holding Abo. And
Like,
I mean, part of this is Ink is a paranoid player. Like, this is Ink we're talking about. But yes, I do agree. Like, this is I don't like anything about this.
it's just bad for everybody involved. Like, nobody's gaining it. I guess Russia's gaining that they're not losing dots, but
right.
or they're losing Narva still. Like,
well, but Russia's not going to have any further issues because now the trust between Poland and Sweden's broken, and Ink is not a forgiving type.
I definitely agree with you, but like I think it's turns like this that really impact the long-term growth of all three of these powers.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, two of them.
Three
Poland
of them.
and Sweden. Russia was impacted positively by this.
They still lose Narva. Like,
losing Narva is fine. Listen,
No,
but losing Narva is fine because the alternative was losing Narva and Moscow. Russia didn't lose.
Oh
Moscow.
no! I'm in agreement with that. I think getting Poland to flip is good, but the goal is to get Poland to flip and be successful. Like, you keep Narva, you get Poland into Abo. Like, I'm not blaming Russia as much for that as I am blaming, like, Poland's, like, somewhere there has to have been a leak, I feel like, to Poland, like, or like some like lack of enthusiasm in continuing to hit Russia. It just, like, if you're gonna go for this stab, it has to be unknown if you're Poland, and this certainly isn't.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a surprise. And if Ink just blind read it, then power to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're blind reading it, then you should be pressing to avoid it instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I did talk about like how I was anticipating this to happen at like some point very shortly, and I was right. This did happen. Yeah. So.
Oops.
Yeah, this was kind of predictable to me. Because I honestly didn't think that the peace between Poland and Sweden would last this long, even. But, you know, I've been surprised.
And here's where my claim about it being a 50-50 for Lisbon here. If I had done your moveset, I would have gotten Lisbon.
If you'd done my moveset?
Galicia and Lisbon, yeah. And you're 100% right that that's just infinitely better. I guess the reasoning I went to Sea of Azores because it prevents the Rabat retreat there.
Yeah.
Whereas it retreating to Madeira Plain just does literally nothing. I have a fleet in Regibat and Arguin, and I'm building another in Canaries.
I think this move is fine.
I agree.
You're not so dot hungry, and this does more to comprehensively cripple the Portuguese position.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in Galicia and Lisbon,
whether or not I go to Lisbon is up for debate, but I think I definitely should have walked Galicia.
Yeah.
Or Seville. Seville does the same thing, but doesn't get tapped by Iberian Current, so it's probably actually the...
No, the problem with Seville is Seville can also get bounced. It's less likely, but I mean, what you could do is you could support yourself in Seville. That's not terrible.
No, because that has the whole thing. Rabat retreats to Sea of Azores.
Yeah, that's fair. It's still better to go Sea of Azores than Spurs. I mean, I think the Galicia thing is just the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, these are what fall moves. We all move on to. Could take a look very quickly at. Is this spring or fall?
This is fall.
This is fall. Yeah, and we can take a look at Indo very briefly.
Again. Right, we did this. Yeah, we already...
I don't
Yep.
We didn't look at
think
Yeah.
we looked at Hayat.
Predicted your moves. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You ended up getting Natuna. I forced Malacca Strait, and I forced Sambus. There's a fleet in Rio Sea, which is annoying, but I just backfill Palembang, and I still have the fleet in Bangka, so it's not actually that threatening. And now you're in Natuna Sea, which will get up to all sorts of shenanigans.
Yeah, and this fleet is vassalized to you,
Yeah,
and your Formosa stuff is vassalized to me. Is pretty much that
was the
deal
arrangement
at
for
the
pretty
moment.
much the rest of the game.
Yes.
Uh,
As a side note, from this position, Ayutthaya suddenly really wants to be friends with me, but also really wants
Yeah.
me to not walk back into Kunming, which are not
yeah,
which are two very incompatible notions. Which he, you know,
those don't work together.
no.
But yeah,
Yes.
there's incredible weirdness going on with Mughal allied to England. But yeah,
this doesn't make any sense to me.
Salt is dotting everyone and anyone he can.
This makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
That's Salt.
yeah, it's Salt. I feel like there's some merit to just like knowing it's Salt, just tapping it on Metabad.
Oh yeah, 100%. Mughal should have 100%, but
like it's Salt.
Yeah.
Like
he's gonna do it.
He's gonna do it.
Nothing better.
I mean, it's the same thing with the Blitz game where I was Poland and what was it? Meme had the fleet in Caracas.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like,
You
this is a very important core. I need this core open to build.
Gonna cover that.
Like, and it's a dot. It's gonna get covered.
Yeah. Let's see. I think that wraps up the fall though, and that also wraps up our third hour. So it feels like we might be in a good place to just call part 1. 2 years and 3 hours. So
intro plus 2 years in 3 hours.
So thanks everyone for watching who's gotten this far. This has been King of Russia as Ming, and Glossen as Netherlands, and Vmprnighthwk as Spain. And we'll be seeing you next time, and maybe even a third time after that at this rate.
Yeah, quite possibly a third time.
Yep.
All right.
Hopefully it speeds up.